Welcome to the Fantasy Audiobook. The Awakening of the Heavens. Unlock the Whitebeard template at the beginning. Chapter 1. Tianai City, in front of No. 3 Middle School. This classmate, you seniors are going to have an awakening ceremony today. Are you nervous? Accompanied by a female voice, a pitch-black microphone was directly pointed at Sumo's mouth. The handsome young man frowned. He said he didn't like this kind of interview method. But out of politeness, Sumo still replied calmly, "Beauty, do you believe me when I say I'm not nervous?" What a scumbag reporter, asking nonsense questions. This once-in-a-lifetime awakening ceremony is equivalent to the important college entrance examination in the previous life. Who is not nervous? That's right, Sumo is actually not from this world. It has been 18 years since he traveled to this strange world. In this world, monsters are rampant. In order to fight against monsters, humans discovered the mystery of genes 1,000 years ago. From the age of technology and weapons, it has evolved to the extraordinary era of awakening superpowers and then using them to fight against monsters. Today happens to be the day when the newest batch of senior students in their third middle school awaken. As long as one can awaken supernatural powers, even if they are not very strong ones, he is equivalent to being a top student in his previous life. On the other hand, if you cannot awaken your superpower, you will be mediocre and your life will be a problem. Who wouldn't be nervous about such an awakening ceremony that is dozens of times more cruel than the college entrance examination in the previous life? You're so nervous, okay. When the female reporter heard Sumo's words, she smiled awkwardly, and then changed the subject. By the way, classmate, I heard that there are many physical monsters among the students in your number 3 middle school this year, especially the second-class student. My classmate Sumo, I heard, seems to be more perverted than the key students from the awakening family in class 1 in terms of 3 physical abilities. A common student can actually be better than the geniuses from the awakening family. Is this true? The words fell. Sumo glanced at the female reporter calmly. As long as civilians are willing to work hard, they are not necessarily worse than people from the awakening family. The female reporter was stunned for a moment, and looked at Sumo speechlessly. Classmate, if those people from the awakening family heard your crazy tone, they would be angry. Aren't you afraid of their revenge? Revenge, just because of those losers who only take advantage of their family background to be arrogant and domineering without working hard at all. Looking at the teasing female reporter, Sumo shook his head. The female reporter was stunned. They are the face of your number 3 middle school this year, and you actually call them trash. The young man in front of me is a bit crazy. Could it be that he is also a genius student from an awakening family? But the clothes look nothing like her. While she was confused, Sumo's next words made her stunned on the spot. Even an ordinary person like me, who comes from a commoner background, can't compare to me. He only bullies the weak and fears the strong. What is he not a piece of trash? After saying that, Sumo turned around calmly and walked directly towards the school gate. On the spot, the reporter lady opened her mouth wide and looked blankly at Sumo's retreating back. Is he Sumo? Oh my god, the person I just interviewed turned out to be the famous civilian from number 3 middle school. The young lady looked shocked and wanted to catch up with Sumo for an interview, but the young man had disappeared. Walking on the campus intersection. Sumo didn't care about what the female reporter just said. He is indeed a commoner, and he was born in an orphanage. But so what? He, Sumo, was still without the golden finger of the time traveler. By working 10 times or even 100 times, barely surpassing those dandy boys from the awakening family. Just like now, before dawn and the awakening ceremony officially started, I was the first to arrive at school. The purpose is simple, just to train for a few more hours to prepare for the upcoming awakening ceremony. Soon, Sumo walked into the fitness gym where he usually trained. After warming up a little, he immediately started exercising with the help of public equipment. Speed, power, reflexes. The 3 combined physical qualities are the early standards for stimulating genetic potential and awakening superpowers. Although it may not be accurate, as long as students with strong physical fitness have a high probability of awakening supernatural powers. Time flies. After 3 hours of exercise, students entered the gate of No. 3 middle school one after another. No. 3 Middle School is the third-ranked high school in Tianai City. Although the attention is not as high as that of number 1 and No. 2 Middle School, it is not small. So just after dawn, the school gate was crowded with people, including students' family members, but more of them were media and public relations personnel from Tianai City. All teachers and students in the senior year of high school gather in the Awakening Hall. A loud broadcast sound also sounded at this time. Has it started yet? Wiping the sweat on his forehead, Sumo took a deep breath and then rushed towards the Awakening Hall. In front of the Awakening Hall, students from the 6 classes of high school have rushed to their seats one after another. Among them, Class 1 is a class of top students, all students from the Awakening family, and their salary is indeed much higher. At this time, this group of powerful children were all sitting in conspicuous positions in the front row, with their chins held high, looking very proud. Amo, looking at the sweat stains on your body, you didn't come here just after doing morning exercises, right? In the second shift position, best friend Chen Durong saw Sumo approaching for the first time, and suddenly looked helpless. Sumo found a seat and sat down, looking at his best friend. It's not like you don't know what's going on with me. How can I do it if I don't work hard? Chen Durong was silent, then patted Sumo on the shoulder and said teasingly, brother, if you can't awaken your powers, I will support you. Screw you. Sumo rolled his eyes, but Sumo felt warm in his heart. Chen Durong is a rich second generation and comes from a family of awakeners, but it is because of his casual and cheerful personality. He didn't fit in with the powerful students in Class 1, so he chose to join Class 2. Over the years, when Sumo fell into a coma due to excessive exercise, Chen Durong secretly funded his treatment. Sumo always kept this kindness in his heart. By the way, Amo, take this thing. After the two joked a few more times, Chen Durong suddenly took out a white jade-like crystal from the side. Seeing this, Sumo's eyes twitched. Is this a psychic stone? The spiritual stone is a necessary training resource for the awakened person after awakening his superpower. Although the one in front of me is the lowest level, it still costs at least more than 100,000 federal coins. It is equivalent to the income of an average family for more than a year or even 2 years. Well, this is a low-level psychic stone. My dad said that just before awakening, you can try to sense the psychic stone. As long as you can sense even a trace of psychic power, it will be beneficial to us later. As for the awakening test, those stinky things in Class 1 are all available now, so we can't neglect them. With that said, Chen Durong forced the spiritual stone into Sumo's hand. Sumo was a little embarrassed, but when he saw Chen Durong's eyes that refused to refuse, he could only say gratefully, "Thank you, brother." After secretly remembering this friendship, Sumo curiously took the psychic stone. Ding! We sensed weak energy and barely reached the system activation conditions. The system is being activated. Ding! The strongest template system has been successfully activated and begins to bind host Sumo. Ding! The newbie benefit has been drawn for the first time. Congratulations on getting qualified for the One Piece World Template screening. Ding! One Piece World templates are being screened. Ding! The screening was successful. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the unlock template of Edward Newgate, the strongest man in the pirate world. This is my golden finger. Holding the already dim psychic stone in a daze, Sumo felt overwhelmed and shocked. In the past 18 years, he had no longer had any illusions. Unexpectedly, the golden finger that he had been looking forward to day and night was about to undergo the awakening ceremony because of a psychic stone. And activated. In other words, the golden finger is always there, but it cannot be activated because it cannot obtain energy. Quote. For a moment, Sumo didn't know whether to laugh or cry. But after thinking about it, he felt relieved. After all, he was an orphan when he traveled back in time. Food and accommodation are a problem, let alone luxuries like psychic stones. Besides, it's not too late to activate it now. With the system's golden finger and the perseverance I have honed over the years, you will definitely reach the top in this extraordinary world. Trying to control his body that was shaking with excitement, Sumo then looked at the virtual panel in front of him. Host. Sumo. Cultivation. None. Superpower. Shocking power S+, 3-color domineering S. Martial skills. None. Energy points. 11. Character template. Edward Newgate character details and unlocking levels can be found in the template list by clicking on it. After a brief glance at the character panel and system introduction, Sumo roughly knew what the system he had obtained was. This most powerful template system is a system that extracts character templates from various worlds. Specially select the strongest people, and then continuously unlock the character's abilities, use them for your own use, and even surpass them. Sumo's first novice benefit was to draw the template of Edward Newgate, the strongest man in the pirate world. Daddy with Whitebeard. He has also seen the Pirate King Sumo in his previous life, and he is very fond of this powerful and charismatic figure. System. Have Whitebeard's demonic power and 3-color domineering energy been converted into superpowers? Not only has it been transformed into a superpower, but the shock fruit and 3-color hockey are still rated S level. The legendary S class. Cultivation to the extreme, the strongest superpower that can cause natural disasters. In this world, the levels of abilities are divided from strong to weak, S, A, B, C, D, E, F. Before this, Sumo couldn't even think about it, let alone S level, even C level. As long as he could awaken his D level powers, he would be satisfied. Because you have awakened a D level or above power, you can go to a top university to continue your studies. Develop abilities with massive resources and the guidance of strong men, and truly step into the ranks of the strong. As a result, now, he is given double S levels directly. If anyone finds out about this later during the test, wouldn't it be a direct blow up? Secretly shocked, the system's cold mechanical voice replied in time, change according to the rules of the world and eliminate side effects. Eliminate side effects. After coming back to his senses, Sumo's eyes widened, and then he became ecstatic. Does that mean that devil fruit users no longer have to be afraid of seawater? Awesome. The system is produced and it is perfect. Just as Sumo continued to communicate with the system with consciousness, a loud sound spread above the awakening hall. Dear students, your class teacher should have explained the process of the awakening ceremony in detail. Here, I will simply add a few words. First, relax and don't resist the next ceremony because of nervousness. Second, even if you can't, don't be discouraged if you awaken your powers. You can also continue to take the liberal arts college entrance examination. As long as you work hard, you may become a scientific researcher and continue to contribute to the country. Well, that's all I have to say. I declare that the awakening ceremony has officially begun. Quote. As Principal Huang Chongguang finished speaking, all the teachers and students, including the family members and media members who were watching, applauded. Nodding with satisfaction, Huang Chongguang then looked at an old man in the awakening hall. Dean Wang Zhou is the person in charge of this test. After receiving the signal, Wang Zhou immediately turned on the psychic tester in the center of the hall. As long as you place your hand on the tester, the psychic energy stored in it will flow to the genes in the human body. Then start activating the latent ability. For those with special powers, the tester will glow and give the answer. Those without superpowers are dim and dull. After turning on the instrument, Wang Zhou looked at the front row seat. Students from Class 1, as usual, you come up first. Class 1 is the class led by Wang Zhou. At this moment, when he thought that his class was the face of No. 3 middle school, his old face was filled with pride. But at the next moment, he froze slightly. Because he thought of Sumo, who barely surpassed the students in his class in all 3 physical abilities. What if the student named Sumo really awakened a power that was even better than the students in his class? Wouldn't his old face be completely lost? Probably not. Excellent physical fitness may be able to awaken superpowers, but if you want to awaken high-level superpowers, the real focus is genetic strength. The students in my class are all from awakening families, and many of them have D-level parents. The little guy in Class 2 is probably not the descendant of an awakened person with supernatural powers, otherwise he wouldn't be an orphan. After comforting himself in his heart, Wang Zhou's old face showed a proud look again. Zhao Hong, Class 1, come on stage. As soon as he finished speaking, a tall boy with a confident face walked up the steps from Class 1. Just a few seconds after he put his hand on the tester, a burst of light slowly came on. After a while, Zhao Hong, E-level superpower, strengthened body. Wow, The sound of the tester fell, and there was a burst of exclamation from the surroundings. Awesome! The top students are the top students. They were the first ones to take the stage. They have E-level powers. Although they are common powers, they have already surpassed 80% of their peers. As long as they polish it more, it's absolutely no problem to go to a key university. This year's top class in No. 3 middle school seems to be as good as number 2 middle school. Zhao Hong's 3 physical fitness tests in Class 1 ranked among the top 10 in the class, and his parents are E-level awakeners. It's normal. Guess what level of abilities Tang Zihao and Lin Ting, who are ranked first and second in that class, can awaken? With their background and physical abilities, these two are at least E-level. Below, students from other classes cast envious glances at Zhao Hong, and the surrounding media started talking even more. Zhao Hong enjoyed this scene very much. He turned around and walked down the steps, and suddenly looked at the location of Class 2. To be precise, he should be looking at Sumo, who was beside Chen Durong. Su, it's still some time before your second class's test. Aren't you known as an Iron Man? Why not take this opportunity to do a few more sets of push-ups? Maybe you will awaken an S-level power later. Yeah, ha ha ha. With a playful smile, Zhao Hong looked like a villain at this moment. Most people in the class looked down on Sumo, and Zhao Hong was one of the most unhappy. Now that he was attracting much attention, he naturally couldn't help but mock Sumo. Haha, so refreshing. Amo, don't pay attention to this idiot, I believe you will be able to awaken your D-level powers. In the second class seat, Chen Durong first glared at Zhao Hong, then patted Sumo on the shoulder to encourage him. Without looking at Zhao Hong, Sumo looked at Chen Durong and said with a smile, "Don't worry, I won't be familiar with this thing. Besides, Durong, won't you give your best wishes to my brother? He only has D-level powers. You should congratulate me for awakening the S-level power. When I awaken the S-level power, I will definitely protect you." Quote. Good guy. Chen Durong was immediately silent. He thought his brother's mentality would be affected. Who would have thought? Not only was he acting like a normal person, but he was actually making a joke. I'll be a good boy. It also has S-level powers. If Sumo could awaken his S-level powers, he, Chen, would swim butterfly in the manure pond to celebrate his brother. After Zhao Hong's episode, the second student from Class 1 quickly picked up. Wang Niu, F-level superpower. For top students, F-level abilities are considered normal, neither outstanding nor bad. Next, students from a class came on stage one after another, some good and some bad. Most of them are F-level powers, but E-level powers are extraordinary, with as many as 8. There are 3 more seniors than the previous class, which is a good improvement. This made Wang Zhou, the teaching director, very happy and his face glowed red. By this time, there were still 2 students in Class 1 who had not yet been tested. Everyone's eyes turned to these 2 students. Tang Zihao and Lin Ting. The best of these 2 top students. If it weren't for the sudden rise of Sumo, a commoner, the 2 of them would definitely be the benchmark students in number 3 middle school. Of course, most people present today and the media and public relations still agree. No matter how good a commoner Sumo is in physical fitness, he should still be unable to compare with these 2 in today's awakening test. After all, there is no trace of Sumo's life experience, and Tang Zihao and Lin Ting are both descendants of D-class awakened people. The former may be 100% able to awaken supernatural powers, but the upper limit is definitely not as high as the latter. Class 1 Lin Ting, come on stage. As Wang Zhou finished speaking, a slim girl with an appearance of at least 80% gracefully walked onto the stage. Her white chin was raised high, and her eyes were full of arrogance, like a white swan. Lin Ting, don't be nervous, just slowly put your hand on the tester. Looking at the girl in front of him, Wang Zhou smiled kindly and said, "Teacher, I believe you will be able to awaken your D-level powers." Don't worry, teacher, I will definitely be able to awaken the D-level powers, but my pursuit is C-level. The girl's little face was full of pride. After a sweet smile, she put her white hands into the tester. Wow, a brilliance even more dazzling than that of Zhao Hong lit up, attracting the attention of everyone present. This light, it's definitely above E-level. Is it D-level, or Looking at this ray of light, everyone present felt their throats rising. Soon, the tester sound comes out. Lin Ting, D-level elemental superpower, triple whirlwind. As soon as the results came out, the scene fell silent. Paw, paw, paw. This was followed by warm applause. It's a D-level power. And it's an elemental wind power. It's amazing, much more powerful than her parents' ordinary enhanced power. There is no elemental type that is not powerful, and it is also D-level. It is definitely stronger than the D-level abilities of other major categories. She is indeed the proud daughter of heaven in No. 3 middle school. I remember that the highest level in number 1 middle school is C level, right? In No. 3 middle school, you can awaken D level, and it is also an elemental type. It is very powerful. The future is bright and your future achievements will be great. That's great. It would be great if my son also had D-level powers. Alas. The surrounding scene suddenly burst into loud exclamations. Students in other classes, even the top students in Class 1, also looked at Lin Ting with envy and admiration. Lin Ting used to be their goddess, but now she has awakened D-level elemental powers, which is even more unattainable. Wang Zhou could no longer hold back his image. Ha ha ha. Classmate Lin Ting, D-level elemental power, very good. The teacher taught me well. Lin Ting's little face also turned red, and she responded delicately. Although it is not the C level she desires, the D-level elemental type is also one of her pursuits. Happy, celebrating happily in my heart. The girl once again walked down the steps like a white swan, enjoying the attention of everyone. However, she did not return to her class, but came to the second class. He looked at Sumo sharply. Have you thought about it? For a while, all the students looked at Sumo with envy and complicated eyes. Sumo, on the other hand, looked at Lin Ting coldly. I refuse. Over the past year, because of his excellent physical fitness and handsome appearance, the arrogant Lin Ting asked herself to be her domestic servant on the condition of enjoying excellent resources. He must listen to Lin Ting's words at all times, just like a dog-like domestic servant. This woman's purpose was also very simple, just to humiliate Sumo and reduce her own unwillingness. Sumo naturally couldn't agree to such an unreasonable request, and even wanted to laugh. Chen Durong angrily replied, "You surnamed Lin, please stop thinking nonsense. My brother is the man you will never get. You." The girl's pretty face suddenly turned cold, but due to Chen Durong's identity, she could only endure it. Taking a deep breath, she regained her confident smile and stared at Sumo with her beautiful eyes. "I'm looking forward to your test." After saying that, he walked back to Class 1 as gracefully as a white swan. TCH, hypocritical woman. Pouting his lips, Chen Durong patted Sumo on the shoulder. "There are many cousins in my family, and their personalities are 10,000 times better than hers. Don't worry." Sumo. Wang Zhou also saw this scene, but said nothing, and continued to look kindly at Tang Zihao, the best in his class. Team Tang Zihao, come on stage. Tang Zihao is a tall and cold-looking young man who makes many girls look crazy. He walked onto the stage silently and put his hand into the tester. The eyes of everyone present moved along with his movements. After all, the descendants of Tianai City's big group definitely get the most attention among the three. Buzz. The light was actually much stronger than Lin Ting. Tang Zihao, sea-level beast enhancing superpower, the demon tiger transforms into a beast. As the sound of the tester came out, the noise at the scene started to boil. Holy shit. C-level. I remember that their strongest animal transformation ability is not D-level werewolf transformation. No, your information is inaccurate. According to records, the Tang group produced an elder who transformed into a C-level demon tiger 200 years ago. Could it be that it's inherited from one generation to the next? You can encounter this kind of chance, C-level. This is comparable to 1 or 2, right? Envious, the demon tiger transformed into a beast. I really awakened this power. Tang Zihao clenched his fists, and his handsome face, which had always been cold and cold, finally showed excitement and excitement. C-level. This year our No. 3 middle school also has C-level. Ha ha ha. Wang Zhou laughed proudly and looked at Tang Zihao with relief. You are indeed my student. Zihao, you have a bright future. Thank you, teacher. After restraining himself a little, Tang Zihao suppressed his excitement and walked off the stage without being humble or overbearing. Around him, the major media and public relations officials were still discussing Tang Zihao with endless interest. Young Master Tang should be the strongest senior student in No. 3 middle school this year, right? I really didn't expect that he is actually a C-level student. Wait a minute, it's not necessarily the strongest. Isn't there Sumo? His 3 physical abilities are higher than Tang Zihao's. I find it difficult. He hasn't even taken some basic genes-enhancing drugs. He just exercises 3 physical abilities. He may be able to awaken supernatural powers, but at most he is F level. If he is E level, he is considered lucky. Sigh, this is the helplessness of civilians. If he could have taken some genetic medicines in advance and used a 2-pronged approach, I can guarantee that he will have at least E level powers and maybe even D level powers. There was a lot of public relations discussion in the major media. When it came to Sumo, a special existence in number 3 middle school, the topic was unanimously unfavorable. After all, there have been too many such examples in this era. The common people rose like comets, but finally fell in the awakening hall. Class 2, get ready, it's your turn. In the awakening hall, Wang Zhou's face, who was in a good mood, no longer regained his stern look at this moment. Instead, he continued to announce the list in a friendly manner. Class 2 Sumo, come on stage. After the words fell, the scene fell into silence. All the audience, including media, public relations and students, set their sights on the second class. It can be said that Sumo's reputation was well known in the slogan of the awakening ceremony of number 3 middle school a while ago. Common people regarded him as a role model, but the awakened family and even the powerful people scorned him. What will be the result? It's time to see the real story. Am I the first one? That's fine. Standing up slowly, Sumo's eyes flashed with sharpness, and then he calmly walked onto the stage. Amo, you can definitely do it. Isn't it C level? It's nothing to you. Chen Durong's voice of encouragement came from behind, but some students shook their heads when they heard it. Sumo C level, how can this be? If C levels were so easy to awaken, their Tianai city wouldn't be unable to produce a B level superpower for hundreds of years. The students in Class 1 had a sneer on their lips. In their opinion, Sumo could awaken an F-level power just like their ordinary top students. It is already the virtue accumulated by our ancestors for 8 lifetimes. Even some civilian students looked at Sumo's back with disapproval, if not slander. Of course, they still hope that Sumo can at least awaken an E-level power. In this way, the public relations media who look down on their civilian students should also change their views slightly. Under the spotlight, Sumo slowly walked to the awakening tester. At the same time, he communicated with the system in his mind. System, can you help me hide my 3-color domineering ability? S-class is the most powerful force in this world. In a small urban area like Tianai City, since the extraordinary era, it has only had B-level abilities at best. If 2 SS levels are awakened later, the sensation caused may be no less than a magnitude 100 earthquake. The federal government, as well as major financial groups and well-known mysterious organizations, are probably all targeting him. And this is only on the human side. It would be unimaginable if some highly intelligent humanoid monsters knew about it. As extraterrestrial creatures that have oppressed humans for thousands of years, they will never allow such monsters to appear in humans. I'm afraid that as soon as the news of the double S class comes out, they will sneak into the human community at all costs and kill Sumo in the cradle, right? This is what Sumo saw in the historical documents. Although there is another possibility, that is, it will receive the safest protection from all mankind, but it is only a possibility. He didn't dare to joke with his own life when it came to uncertainties. It's better to be cautious and show off the S level with the shocking fruit first. An S-class is just right. It can shock the Federation, attract attention and protection, and find a way out for oneself. And he can be stuck at the critical point of the abyss monsters, so that they will not immediately want to kill him desperately. After all, although S-level powers are said to be legendary powers, hundreds of billions or more of the human population are affected by them during the awakening ceremony every year. There will still be a few S-class ones, so the attitude of the monsters will not be so decisive. If you encounter them, you'll kill them. If you don't encounter them, you won't care too much. Because within the territories of major mythical monsters, there are also some terrifying entities with S-level abilities that are not inferior to humans. It can be hidden. A cold voice came from the system. Hearing this, Sumo breathed a sigh of relief, and the worries in his heart disappeared. When Wang Zhou saw this, he thought Sumo was too nervous and reminded him rarely, "Sumo, you are the most outstanding student from an ordinary family in recent years. You can be proud. Even if your awakening results are not as good as those of Zihao and the others, you will still be proud. It shouldn't be bad, you can relax a little bit." The dean learned that after 2 of his students awakened the D-level elemental and C-level beastly abilities respectively. It's obvious that he has a broader mind. He probably thinks that no one can compare to his students, right? Otherwise, with his usual attitude of ignoring students in other classes, it would be impossible for him to say more than a few words to Sumo. "Thank you, Director, I'm fine." After thanking him with a strange expression, Sumo directly put his hand on the tester. From now on, he will let those who look down on him know. Sumo's 18 years of hard work have not been in vain. Not only is he the best student in No. 3 middle school in terms of physical fitness, but from now on, he will also be famous in Tianai City and even all mankind. The best genius. Buzz. A vast ray of light rose into the sky. In just a moment, his strength surpassed Tang Zihao's strength. This light, it's definitely more dazzling than Tang Zihao's light, hey. This can't go beyond sea level, right? I went to high schools in other top cities last year and watched their awakening ceremonies. To tell you the truth, even if it is AB level elemental power, the light is just like this at most. This Sumo, could he be awakening B? Superpower, right? Oh my god, is this civilian student going to create a miracle? Seeing the burst of light at that moment, all the onlookers and all the teachers and students were stunned. He stared blankly at the slender figure on the awakening hall. Class B, although there are many in top cities. But in Tianai City, it is already considered a legendary power. Tianai City, which has not produced AB-level superpower for hundreds of years, is it going to be born today? Everyone held their breath and stared at the tester. But at this moment, buzz, the light that everyone thought was about to announce AB-level evaluation actually made a buzzing sound again. The dazzling white light suddenly surged again, directly breaking through the hall of the awakening hall. 100 meters, kilometers, 10,000 meters, until it cuts through the sky. This vision frightened all the people in Tianai City, and they all looked to the sky in astonishment. Look at that vast white beam of light. Oh my god, what is this? Could it be that monsters have invaded our human community? Wait a minute, that's the direction of number 3 middle school, and this white light seems to be the intensity of the power during the awakening test. You want to say that this endless light is caused by the awakening test? Are you kidding me? In front of the awakening hall of No. 3 middle school. Everyone, including Principal Huang Chongguang, stared at the sky-reaching light beam with their eyes wide open and their mouths wide open. Until the sound of the tester came. Class 2 Sumo, S-level special power, the effect is unknown. Quiet. As the light gradually dissipated, the scene became so quiet that you could hear a pin drop. Huang Chongguang had already stood up from his principal chair at this time, with a confused look on his face. S-level. Did he hear it correctly? My 3rd middle school actually awakened to S-level. Snapped. As if in a dream, this powerful 1-star awakened person gave himself a slap on the spot. Pain hit. The young man in front of him was still standing in the awakening hall, and the tester still showed the S-level record. It's really S-level. My 3rd middle school actually got S-level. Ha. Huang Chongguang's laughter spread loudly, and everyone at the scene came to their senses. Then they all looked at the big golden characters on the tester with disbelief. S-level special powers. Hiss. There were repeated gasps of air. Sumo awakened S-level powers. And it is a special type of superpower that is more mysterious than the elemental type. Monster. At this moment, the only comment left in everyone's minds about that slender figure was this. Only those who have awakened S-level powers can be worthy of this title. He, S-level, at the first class position, Tang Zihao's handsome face was filled with shock and disbelief. Such a gap and contrast was simply unacceptable to him. His brows were furrowed tightly, and his heart was filled with despair, just like the unwillingness and despair he felt during the previous physical fitness test. As for Lin Ting, her pretty face had already turned pale, her body was shaking, and her teeth were clenching. On the contrary, it was Chen Durong. This guy was so excited that he jumped up from his chair. He danced like a monkey, completely forgetting his previous flag for the butterfly stroke in the manure tank. S level, am I dazzled? No, you are not dazzled, and the tester is not wrong. It is really S level. With such a qualification, the 5 top universities have definitely received the news, and they may rush to Tianai City soon to recruit people. Envy. I didn't expect that there would be S-class bosses in our Tianai City. If I can see the birth of S-class bosses in my lifetime, I will die with no regrets. He actually created a miracle. This cannot be said to be unprecedented in our Tianai City, but it is definitely unprecedented. On the observation deck, many Tianai City media and public relations officials had completely changed their looks at this moment, and their mouths were full of praise. It was a complete change from his previous attitude of looking down on Sumo. All I can say is, it's so real. Thump 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 thump. When the principal was sitting on the stage, Huang Chongguang's face was flushed and his heart was beating fast. He jumped a few times and came to Sumo's side. Looking at the young man in front of him with gleaming eyes, the old face grinned again, ha ha ha. You are young and have a lot of promise. Headmaster. Sumo was a little frightened by the scorching eyes, but he still nodded politely. In No. 3 middle school, Huang Chongguang was considered one of the people he respected the most. Even if some teachers looked down on him as a commoner, Huang Chongguang would never do that. He even opened up all kinds of precious exercise equipment to civilian students. He was fair and impartial, and he was considered a rare good principal. Moreover, Huang Chongguang is also a 1-star Golden Awakener. P.S. The levels of Awakeners in this world are Black Iron, Silver, Gold, Diamond, Extraordinary, King. Each level is divided into 1 to 9 stars. These people are considered to be the top group of people in Tianai City. So not only for Huang Chongguang's character, but also out of respect for the strong. Even if Sumo has awakened his S-level powers, he still needs to have proper etiquette. Student Sumo, can you show me what your superpower is like? At this moment, Huang Chongguang's eyes were full of excitement and curiosity. S-level special unknown power. It would definitely be a great honor for him to be one of the first witnesses of this power. Sumo smiled and nodded. To be honest, he was feeling the mysterious demonic power in his body at this moment, and he was also extremely curious. After taking a deep breath, Sumo immediately clenched his fists. Then I saw it. Buzz. Along with a buzzing sound, a white halo emerged and enveloped his fist. Huang Chongguang held his breath and watched excitedly. The surrounding audience, including all the teachers and students, also fell silent, looking at the halo of light in Sumo's hand, secretly amazed. Boom! Without any further hesitation, Sumo blasted directly into the void ahead. Click! A weird sound like breaking glass spread. Then, under everyone's horrified gaze, tiny cracks spread from Sumo's fist. Cracks filled the 5-meter diameter void in front of him in an instant, as if the space had been shattered, and it was extremely horrifying. Holy shit, what kind of superpower is this? Can it break the void with one punch? Blast the void with the power of the physical body. Even such an extraordinary power may not be able to do it, right? No, the space is not broken, but what's going on with those cracks? Weird, it's too weird. The special category is the special category. Just looking at it makes my scalp numb. What will happen if I get hit by that punch? Since the observation deck was relatively far away, most people could only see the vision in front of Sumo. But even so, such a shocking visual effect made everyone's heart beat fast and they screamed in shock. This is Huang Chongguang and Wang Zhou, who were closest to Sumo, suddenly changed color on their faces. After feeling the shuddering destructive power, the two of them took a few steps back subconsciously. There is even a layer of spiritual energy on the body surface that can only be condensed by a Golden Awakener. However, That strange force did not affect the two of them. As Sumo retracted his fist, the void in front of him became calm. Is this Whitebeard's demonic power? It caused an airquake without any backlash. The system is really awesome. Originally, he was ready for a backlash. But until he withdrew his fist, he didn't feel any discomfort at all. There is no doubt that this is definitely the result of the system. To eliminate all side effects, I can only say, so cool. Classmate Sumo, is this power of yours the power of shock? Huang Chongguang removed the psychic shield and asked with a somewhat worried expression. Just now he and Wang Zhou were the two strongest among the three. He was actually frightened by a student who had just awakened his superpower. And this was while all teachers, students, and the media were watching. It's a bit embarrassing indeed. But this can't be blamed on them, because the power that Sumo created just now was too terrifying. Huang Chongguang can guarantee that if the punch just hit the entity below the gold awakened ones, if the silver awakened ones are not prepared, they will be severely damaged. The black iron awakener died immediately. That's right, whether you are on guard or not, 9 stars or not, you will die immediately. This power is definitely much more terrifying than the elemental ones, and even the destructive power of thunder-type powers is probably incomparable. The S-level special powers are really terrifying. Roughly the same. Faced with Huang Chongguang's question, Sumo chuckled and replied, I call this power the Devil's Shock Power. Shock Fruit, Devil Shock Power. It would make sense to call it a demonic force, right? In this world, everyone's abilities must be registered. Choosing a name in advance can save a lot of trouble. S-level special power, Demon Shock Power. Huang Chongguang's eyes lit up, and he grabbed Sumo's hand and said excitedly, Student Sumo, I have just informed people from the 5 top universities that tomorrow their specially recruited teachers will come to our No. 3 middle school. You will enjoy the most top-notch admissions treatment and enter the most comprehensive and perfect institution of human education to practice. Thank you very much, Principal. Sumo replied with a smile. Really, as long as he shows his talent, someone will make arrangements for him. 5 top universities: Modu University, Taikyo University, Wulin University, Zhongnan University, Zhongzhou University. These 5 institutions were the top universities in the world before the Extraordinary Era. Nowadays, after the baptism of the Extraordinary Era, it has become a holy place for human education. Each category of superpowers has powerful analysis and explanation to help students master superpowers faster and become strong. Before obtaining the system, Sumo dreamed of entering these 5 universities. Just like countless candidates in previous lives who wanted to enter Qingbei. Now, after acquiring S-level powers, these 5 universities came to recruit him personally. Ha, I've never dreamed it was this good. It's so real. You're welcome. You're welcome. This is what I should do. Come on, come and sit on top. As the first student in our number 3 middle school to awaken S-level powers, number 3 middle school is proud of you. At the same time, your reward will not be if it's not enough, the principal will give it to you personally. After a while, Sumo was personally invited to the principal's desk by Huang Chongguang. With that look, those who didn't understand would think that Sumo was the principal of No. 3 middle school. Surrounded by Huang Chongguang, Sumo suddenly turned his head and looked at the position of the second class, and said with a sincere smile, Darong, come on. Ha ha ha, brother, wait for me. Lin Ting, Tang Zihao and Zhao Hong on the other side saw this scene, their faces turned pale, their eyes full of bitterness and despair. Were the 3 of them ignored by Sumo? That's right. Sumo probably never regarded himself and others as opponents from the beginning to the end, right? Now that the S-level powers have been awakened, their identities have been directly switched, and they are no longer from the same world. This feeling and gap is very painful. Especially Lin Ting, she couldn't wait to find a hole to crawl in right now. Let an S-class superpower be your servant. I'm afraid her entire family is not worthy of carrying Sumo's shoes. In the awakening hall, the test started again, and the second-class students continued to take the stage. But for the audience and media who have experienced the impact of S-class, it is already a bit boring. Unless there is another S-level ability, but this is obviously impossible. The principal sat on the stage. Student Sumo, after consideration, I will give you a scholarship of 1 million yuan on behalf of the school. Huang Chongguang only had sumo in his eyes at the moment. After speaking, he continued to smile and said, "At the same time, you will become the honorary tutor of our number 3 middle school." Honorary tutor. Sumo was slightly startled. 1 million is already a very high reward, but I didn't expect that I would also receive the title of honorary mentor. You must know that the honorary tutor has the same status as the principal, and even to a certain extent, is more important than the principal. Because this is the role model of a school and the face of the school. And you don't have to be responsible for too many chores in the school, and you have all the management rights of this school. Much more valuable than that 1 million. In fact, this title is dispensable to Sumo. After all, he will leave Tianai City sooner or later. But Huang Chongguang was already so polite and enthusiastic. It was just a nominal position, so just accept it. It can be regarded as a little bit of Sumo's concern for this alma mater. Huang Chongguang was so excited when he saw Sumo agreed to become the honorary tutor of No. 3 Middle School. Immediately, he secretly took out a metal box from behind his back. Although these things are not very valuable, they should be very useful to the awakeners who are initially awakening their abilities. Because the principal's desk was blocked by guardrails, no one outside saw this small move. After taking a deep look at Huang Chongguang, Sumo accepted the metal box. Naturally, he could tell that the principal was showing favor to him. Sumo didn't resent this. After all, at this stage, he really needed some initial things to become stronger faster. Moreover, Huang Chongguang is a pretty good person. As the first person to invest in himself, what if he accepts him? Phew, Huang Zongguang breathed a sigh of relief when he saw Sumo accept it. S-level special powers. Entering the top 5 universities is a sure thing. Once you graduate successfully, you will at least be a strong person in the diamond realm. If the battle abroad goes well, it will be based on S-level talent. It is not impossible to become an extraordinary awakened person, or even a powerful king. What was stored in the box was actually Huang Chongguang's half-life savings, but this price was compared to the cost of currying favor with a future boss. What does it matter? If you don't fawn over now, why don't you wait until someone else becomes a king and a respecter before you fawn over? I want to eat shit. Besides, he doesn't need much help from Sumo, as long as the latter achieves something in the future. Just click on his name Huang Chongguang. Thinking like this, Huang Chongguang couldn't hold back the smile on his face. Student Sumo, you must be tired. Do you want me to send you back to rest? I will let you know when people from the 5 universities arrive. Quote. It's okay. You can go back after watching the awakening ceremony. Sumo also had a smile on his face. He was naturally happy after receiving 1 million yuan in a box that was obviously in stock. After chatting with Huang Chongguang for a few more words, he diverted his attention to observe the system. Host. Sumo. Cultivation. 1 star in the Black Iron Realm. Superpower. Shocking Power S+, 3 Color Domineering S. Martial Skills. None. Energy Points. 11. Character Template. Edward Newgate character details and unlocking levels can be found in the template list by clicking on it. In terms of cultivation, he has gone from nothing to a black iron star. Wisps of spiritual energy are flowing in the body, which is a symbol of those who have entered the awakening stage. Sumo also asked the system a question just now. For example, is the spiritual energy system of this world linked to the Junjun fruit? Host, when the shock fruit is transformed into supernatural power, spiritual energy is already one of the energies that activates the devil's power. Together with physical energy, it activates the ability of the shock fruit. That's why your strength it will be many times higher than the same level. After getting the system's answer, what else could Sumo say? All I can say is, the system is awesome. Feeling secretly, Sumo clicked on the character template again and looked at it in detail. Character Template. Edward Newgate. Shocking Power unlock level 5%. Overlord Color Domineering unlock level 5%. Armed Color Domineering Elementary unlock level 10%. Seeing and Hearing Domineering beginner level unlock level 10%. Taijutsu unlock level 10%. Guan Dao Shu unlock level 10%. Remarks. In addition to exercising all the time to unlock character abilities, you can also speed up the unlocking progress by obtaining energy points by killing monsters. You can also unlock them by completing randomly assigned tasks to obtain unlocking experience points. When he saw the note at the back, Sumo felt happy. I thought I had to complete the unlocking step by step through my own efforts, but I didn't expect there was a shortcut. This is good. I will definitely extract character templates in the future. If it is to be unlocked slowly, as character templates come out one by one, it will be difficult to take care of them all, right? But once you have this benefit, it will be different. As long as he has enough energy points, he can unlock all mission templates 100% perfectly. As for energy points, this is not simple. In addition to psychic stones, isn't it just about killing monsters? There are many things in this world, besides monsters, there are still monsters. Sumo doesn't have to worry about not having energy points at all. Nodding with satisfaction, Sumo withdrew his mind and looked at the awakening hall below again. But when he saw it, he was stunned. Because at this time, the awakening test actually stopped again. And why is the scene in front of me so strange? The positions of the 6 central classes have been cleared. In an open space, 2 students were facing each other, actually fighting. One of them is his good brother, Chen Durong. Sumo was confused. After Chen Durong's test, he no longer paid much attention to the situation below. When he is fully immersed in the system, it is equivalent to closing his eyes and taking a rest. He really does not know what is going on now. Huang Chongguang, who was on the side, had long since disappeared, and was actually watching the battle below. After walking down the principal stage, Sumo quietly came to Huang Chongguang and asked doubtfully, "Principal, what's going on?" "Classmate Sumo, you finally came to your senses." Huang Chongguang's face was dark at the moment, but when he saw Sumo, he immediately breathed a sigh of relief as if he had seen a life-saving straw. Through the brief narration of the old principal, only then did Sumo learn that during the period when he was communicating with the system, people from number 1 and no. 2 middle school actually came to their number 3 middle school for the news that he had awakened S-level powers. As soon as they came, there was a strange atmosphere, and everyone was like lemon essence asking Sumo to come out and show off. But Huang Chongguang naturally refused. He was a small 1 and 2, and he was usually arrogant and complacent. Now he actually dares to ask his honorary tutor from No. 3 middle school to perform. Let's go eat. So of course a battle of words was inevitable next. No, Chen Durong couldn't bear to see his brother being weirded out, plus he had just awakened his C-level powers. Directly request on-site PK. Help Sumo win over those so-called first and second level geniuses. After understanding the situation, Sumo showed a strange smile. This good brother of his was inflated. But after all, you are venting your anger for yourself, so let's take a look. I really can't stand it, and he, Sumo, doesn't panic. 1 or 2 high schools outside of Tianai City. AC level elemental genius. It's all rubbish. If you dare not give face to my brother Mr. Chen later, I will blame you for everything. In the open field, Chen Durong looked at the arrogant-looking young man opposite him with great displeasure. What the hell? A mere C-level superpower, just like him, dared to mock his brother. These fools in the second middle school were really lawless. Cursing secretly, layers of thick metallic texture began to appear on the surface of Chen Durong's body. C-level enhanced superpower, metallization. This is the superpower he just awakened in the awakening hall. It can be said that he has performed exceptionally well, even better than his parents. This ability can make Chen Durong's body become metal, his defense will instantly double, and his strength will also increase with his defense. But relatively, the speed will decrease. Unless one has complete control over the superpower, this only shortcoming will be difficult to make up for. In fact, this is not only a shortcoming of Chen Durong's metallization, but also a shortcoming of all physical strengthening abilities. There are gains and there are losses. According to the law of conservation, there is nothing we can do about this. Of course, this type of ability can be quite powerful if the timing is well controlled. As long as it can hit the enemy, the effect will be outstanding. I didn't expect that you also have C-level powers. No wonder you dare to speak for Sumo. Opposite me, The young man smiled with a slap on his face. But it's a pity that you met me. We both have sea-level powers, so you are destined to be suppressed by me. After saying that, the young man rushed out directly, his speed reaching 100 meters in 5 seconds. This young man's name is Zhou Qi, and he is one of the geniuses who has awakened sea-level powers in No. 2 Middle School. The awakened power is also a sea-level enhanced type, but it is enhanced in terms of speed, which is indeed very restrained by Chen Durong. In an instant, Zhou Qi was already close to Chen Durong, and Chen Durong snorted coldly and punched out. Boom! The wind of the fist roared, and the energy flew everywhere. If you can't hit, what's the use of having power? Unexpectedly, Zhou Qi just sneered and twisted his body in the middle of the Mercedes-Benz to avoid Chen Durong's powerful and heavy punch. Then he used his rare spiritual energy with his right leg to hit the latter's waist. Boom! Being hit hard by a whip, Chen Durong was so painful that his body lost balance and flew sideways. But fortunately, the metal had barely covered the body, and it was only painful, and no ribs were broken. Call. After regaining his balance, Chen Durong took a deep breath and his eyes gradually became sharp. He spread his legs in big strides, and actually got into a horse stance. When I was in physical arts class, the teacher said that you must be steady when facing an enemy who is faster than you. You can't let the opponent take the offensive, you have to stay calm and look for opportunities. At this moment, he must calm down and pay attention to the trajectory of the opponent's shot. However, the theory is such that when faced with the first battle with supernatural powers, he still could not fully implement the effect. No, he was once again approached by Zhou Qi. After 2 consecutive punches and leg sweeps failed, he was hit in the chest again. Ahem. The violent pain made Chen Durong cough lightly. After the blow was successful, Zhou Qi suddenly stopped, crossed his arms over his chest and said with a smile, "Big guy, is this the 3rd high school?" With this look, it can be said that Chen Durong is not taken seriously at all. Haha, is this the level of No. 3 Middle School? It's useless. It's too useless. I'm afraid I can defeat this big guy without even having to take action from Senior Zhou, ha ha ha. On the sidelines, all the 1st and 2nd middle school students who came with them started whistling and getting excited. This made the teachers of No. 3 Middle School look a little ugly, and the students even clenched their fists. Beside Huang Chongguang, Sumo had already narrowed his eyes, and a dangerous aura kept swirling in the gaps between his eyes. Not good. Seeing this, Huang Chongguang reminded student Sumo, there are so many media watching the scene, we can't beat people to death. If we take action later, we will just teach him a lesson. Sumo, don't worry, no one will die, at most they will be half disabled. Quote. Huang Chongguang was silent and could only look at the young man named Zhou Qi sympathetically. At this time in the center of the field, Chen Durong looked unconvinced. He had gone from being unable to resist to being able to predict Zhou Qi's attack. But even so, it is only a passive defense. If you can't react, you can only get beaten. If it hadn't been for the metallization, he would have been seriously injured on the spot. But now, his spiritual energy has been exhausted and is about to bottom out. Once the metallization cannot be maintained, he will be knocked down with one blow. Of course, Zhou Qi on the opposite side was not very relaxed. Cold sweat began to break out on his forehead, which was a sign of excessive consumption of spiritual energy. However, compared to Chen Durong, he obviously still has some energy left. Give me, let me. At this time, Sumo squeezed through the crowd and came to the sidelines with countless people watching in surprise. He slowly walked towards Chen Durong. Thank you for your hard work, Durong. Chen Durong's face turned red. I can still fight. I've already figured out that guy's secrets. I can definitely defeat him with one blow. Hateful. I even planned to fight against my brother, but ended up being played like a monkey. It was so embarrassing. Patting Chen Durong's shoulder, Sumo said speechlessly, are you still trying to be brave after this? Go down and rest. They are here for me, aren't they? Okay, then I'll leave it to you, the protagonist, let them see how powerful Mr. Su is. Hearing this, Chen Durong had no choice but to remove the medal. After grinning, he trudged to the sidelines. Turning his head, Sumo's smile disappeared and he looked at Zhou Qi. Do you like to tease people? Ah, Zhou Qi, who was looking at Sumo curiously, did not react when he heard this. Let me ask you, do you like to tease people? This time, Jochi understood what he understood and raised the corner of his mouth slightly. That big guy is useless and can't touch me, so. Buzz. Before he finished speaking, an overwhelming aura instantly came over him. His knees were directly pressed to the ground, making a clicking sound. Sumo showed off his domineering aura and walked towards Jochi expressionlessly. Although only 5% of the Overlord color has been unlocked, you must know that this is the Overlord color of the strongest man in the pirate world. If he hadn't been merciful, Jochi wouldn't have simply knelt down, but would have fainted to death. But that would be boring. Walking closer, Sumo looked down and put one foot on Jochi's chest. How does it feel? What did you do? Feeling his unable to move body and the heavy pressure on his chest, Jochi's face was full of panic. And all around, all the onlookers looked confused and horrified. Why did Jochi suddenly fall to his knees for no reason this time? Did he run out of spiritual energy and be unable to move? Everyone was puzzled, but those who were awakened in the Golden Realm like Huang Chongguang were as if struck by lightning. He looked at Sumo blankly. The momentum is suppressed. How can this be? A student who has just awakened his supernatural powers has not yet fought a life and death battle. How could he have such a momentum without fighting the overwhelming monsters? Shouldn't this be the invincible aura possessed by a strong man who has won every battle? For a time, Huang Chongguang and others couldn't calm down and were puzzled. Sumo didn't care about the reaction of the onlookers at this moment. He looked down at Jochi with a look of disgust. You are a waste like you, and you still make fun of others. Ha ha. He sneered and exerted force on his feet. There was just a click, and the sound of bones breaking came from Jochi's chest. Ah! A series of screams came from the young man's mouth, which was very miserable. The director of the number 2 middle school who led the team turned pale in an instant. However, before he could stop him, Sumo kicked him out. Get out of here. Boom. Jochi, who was like a dead dog, flew directly back to the location of number 1 and no. 2 middle school. Retracting his left foot, Sumo looked at the people in number 1 and number 2 with sharp eyes. If anyone else is dissatisfied, please stand up. Quote. The sharp eyes and ruthless methods made everyone in number 1 and no. 2 middle school stunned on the spot, not daring to meet Sumo's eyes. They are scared, even the students and teachers of no. 3 middle school trembled in their hearts when they saw Sumo, who was a bit ruthless at this time. Sumo usually gives people the image of an inspirational young man who works hard. But now, it gives people a ferocious feeling, like a sharp knife that has just been unsheathed, and it is cold and unfamiliar. Seeing the motionless 1 and 2, Sumo shook his head. Is there no one? If there is no one, then get out. As soon as he finished speaking, all the students in no. 3 middle school started booing. Ha ha ha, Brother Mo is so powerful. You geniuses from number 1 and no. 2 middle school, if you can't do it, get out of here and don't be embarrassed here. Weren't you very arrogant just now? Whistling. Brothers, come on, let's have fun with 9 consecutive whistles. Ha ha, I'll go first. I'm not strong enough. Whistling and stuff like that, I'm definitely the first. That's it for number 1 and no. 2. As the students from no. 3 middle school booed, the faces of everyone in number 1 and no. 2 middle school turned a little livid. The situation is changing. I was mocking others before, but now I am being slapped in the face by others. This feeling is as uncomfortable as eating shit. A handsome young man standing in the front row couldn't help it anymore. He looked at his dean with cold eyes. Director, I want to go up and give it a try. They woke up a few days ago in our first high school. Yesterday, I was promoted to the realm of Black Iron 2 stars through spiritual energy liquid. Coupled with my C-level elemental power, even if it's S-class, but it's not invincible. This young man is the most talented student in no. 1 middle school this year, Liu Chen, who has awakened the C-level elemental fire. If it weren't for Sumo's sudden attack, he would not only be the most talented person in no. 1 middle school. Even in Tianai City, which has not been ranked B level for hundreds of years, they are also the top group of people. But it was precisely because of Sumo that he came with unwillingness today and wanted to prove something. Then be careful. The director of No. 1 Middle School is also an awakened person in the Golden Realm, and he was shocked by Sumo's overbearing look just now. But due to the face of No. 1 Middle School, he could only bite the bullet and let Liu Chen try it. Maybe, can Liu Chen defeat the opponent by relying on his realm advantage? This is not only the director's lucky idea, but also the idea of all the students in No. 1 Middle School. With the permission of his director, Liu Chen walked out slowly. Leng Ao said, "Yi Zhonglu." Before he finished speaking, he was interrupted by Sumo. "No need to talk nonsense." Veins popped up on his forehead, and Liu Chen was so angry that his breathing became messy. Isn't Sumo's look the same as how he usually ignores everyone in No. 1 Middle School? Hateful. Fire. With an angry roar, a blazing flame quickly condensed in Liu Chen's hand. In the next moment, he rushed towards Sumo, dragging a long tail flame on his hand. When the two were less than 20 meters away, Liu Chen waved with one hand. Then he saw this group of flames, which was 1 meter wide, pulling a long tail flame towards Sumo. The speed was actually faster than that Zhou Qi. The blazing heat of the flames caused the air to be slightly distorted as it passed by. In less than a blink of an eye, he was already in front of Sumo. However, in Sumo's view, this fatal attack must be unavoidable in everyone's eyes. Too slow. The corners of his mouth were slightly raised, and he turned his head slightly, and the flame ball fell directly into space. After flying 3 to 5 meters behind him, it dissipated on the spot. How is this possible? Liu Chen's eyes widened. Can you avoid this? On the sidelines, Huang Chongguang was even more stunned. You predicted in advance and avoided it. How much exaggerated combat awareness and reaction ability does this require? Even if he was allowed to do that just now, the most he could do was use a psychic shield to resist. If you want to play the extreme challenge, you may get flames on your face. All the onlookers around him looked at Sumo blankly, as if they had seen a ghost. In their perception, elemental attacks are the most difficult to avoid. But today, Sumo had somewhat subverted their understanding. Even with the same level of cultivation, he was even lower than his opponent. He actually dodged such a thrilling elemental attack. Awesome. Ordinary people would naturally be unable to dodge, but for Sumo, who possesses the domineering power of seeing and hearing, it is easy. After dodging Liu Chen's attack, he rushed out. Armed color, hardened. His right leg, which was hidden under his trousers and shoes, instantly turned purple-black, and his strength increased dramatically. The distance of 10 meters, with the blessing of power, does not even take a second. The two quickly became close to each other. Sumo raised his right leg high, and the kick was fast and hard, hitting Liu Chen's chest directly where he could not avoid it. Click. Another sound of broken bones was heard, and the genius boy from No. 1 Middle School rolled his eyes on the spot and vomited blood. It flew backwards at a speed of about 10 meters per second. Boom. Rub rub rub. Even if the director of No. 1 Middle School caught him at the critical moment, he was violently pushed back 3 or 4 meters by the force. Retracting his right foot, Sumo said calmly again, "Go away. We are not as good as No. 3 Middle School." The director of No. 1 Middle School had a dark face. After putting down these words as a bet, he hugged Liu Chen and turned away. Our 2nd Middle School is not as good as 3rd Middle School. After saying that, the leader of No. 2 Middle School also blushed and followed behind No. 1 Middle School dejectedly. Liu Chen, the most powerful one, was beaten unconscious. If he didn't leave, he still wanted to stay and embarrass himself. Paw, 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 wonderful. A burst of applause also sounded at this time. The students of No. 3 Middle School, who were about to celebrate and cheer, were suddenly stunned and looked in the direction of the applause. I don't know when. In the corner of the audience, 8 noble figures walked slowly. At this time, these 8 figures all looked at Sumo together, and the eyes of the leading 5 figures were full of ecstasy. The other 3 figures following behind had curiosity and fighting intent in their eyes. Huang Chongguang also turned to look at this group of people. When he saw it, his eyes suddenly widened. He quickly ran forward and took Sumo's hand, came to the 8 figures, and introduced them to them respectfully. Student Sumo, these are specially recruited teachers from the 5 top universities. Hello, teachers. Sumo reacted quickly. After restraining his sharpness, he nodded politely to the 5 figures in front of him who had obviously higher status. In his perception, the auras of these 5 figures should be specially recruited teachers from the 5 top universities. It is very likely that he is an awakener from the Diamond Realm. Neither humble nor arrogant, high profile when it's time to be high profile, and restrained when it's time to be restrained, very good. The beautiful lady at the head looked at Sumo with satisfaction, covered her mouth and said with a smile, "He is from my university in Shanghai." Beside him, an old man with white beard and white hair frowned slightly. "Girl Yan, there is no use in talking about it now. Everything depends on this young man's choice." After speaking, the old man looked at Huang Chongguang. "Principal Huang, please arrange a place. Everyone, please come with me." Huang Chongguang replied respectfully, and then quickly led the way, feeling like a dog in his heart. He really didn't expect it. These 5 universities have arrived so quickly. It has only been nearly 2 hours since Sumo awakened his S-level powers. How did these specially recruited teachers come to Tianai City at the same time across such a distance? Certainly, if Huang Chongguang knew that the 5 major universities' desire for S-class was almost to the point of using any means necessary, he wouldn't be so shocked. Everyone knows that each of the 5 top universities can obtain several S-level students in their enrollment every year. But you must know that these are the results of screening by all mankind. Moreover, each of the top universities has nearly 10,000 students from freshman to senior year, and the total number of S-level students is only a few dozen. This is still decades of accumulation. What does this mean? It is enough to show that S-class resources are still rare from the extraordinary era to the present. It's something you can meet but can't ask for. Faced with such a treasured genius, the 5 major universities are willing to pay no matter how high the price. So what does a little distance mean? Principal's room. Through conversations on the road, Sumo also had a brief understanding of the 8 people. Zhao Feng, who is covered with stubble and somewhat slovenly, is a specially recruited teacher at Zhongnan University. Wang Dehai, an old man with white beard and white hair, is from Wulin University. Zhou Yu, a middle-aged man with a buzzcut, is from Taikyo University. Wei Feng, a heroic woman with short hair, is from Zhongzhou University. Yan Yun, the youngest and most beautiful girl among the 5, is from Shanghai University. I heard that she became a specially recruited teacher right after graduation. As for the other 3, sophomores Wang Dehai, Wei Feng, and Zhou Yu, they came out with their teacher for special recruitment this time. During the brief exchange, Sumo also learned that these 5 specially recruited teachers were indeed awakened ones in the Diamond Realm. Each one of them is capable of sweeping Tianai City. Young man Sumo, you should know the purpose of our visit this time. After everyone took their seats, Wang Dehai spoke first and said kindly, "You can show us your superpower first. After reading it, we will each set out conditions. Everything is your own choice." Sumo nodded and immediately raised his iron fist. Buzz. A white halo emerged, wrapping the fist, and a terrifying aura spread out. The eyes of the 5 Diamond Awakeners suddenly showed excitement. This aura alone has surpassed the elemental powers. This S-level power is definitely a terrifying power attack. They looked at each other and saw in each other's eyes that they were determined to win. Sumo didn't notice the small movements of the 5 people, but waved his fist and gently blasted forward. Click. There was a sound like breaking glass. Thin cracks were seen spreading from Sumo's fist, and continued to expand to a diameter of about 5 meters before stopping. Click 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 click. As for the space directly in front of the fist, whether it is air, chairs, tables, etc. The scene was shattered by the force of the earthquake, the air was distorted, and the seats and tables were shattered into countless tiny pieces. Everywhere he passed was devastated. Hiss. The sound of gasping came from the mouths of the 8 people present, even Huang Chongguang, who had already met him once. I was also frightened by the destructive power this time. Before, it was just bombarding the air, but this time, there was a real object for comparison. The visual effects are simply explosive. Withdrawing his fist, Sumo looked at the principal's office, which had been destroyed by a quarter, and looked at Huang Chongguang with some embarrassment. "I'm sorry, principal, I only wanted to use 20% of my strength, but I didn't hold it back and blasted half of it. Feel sorry. Quote. Everyone was silent. See if this is what people say. The entire principal's office is going to be destroyed by you, just half of it. Young man, do you know that most of the Black Iron Awakeners cannot withstand half of your destructive power? If Sumo hadn't apologized so sincerely at this time, everyone would definitely call this brat the strongest old Versailles man. Huang Chongguang swallowed his saliva and said with a smile, it's okay, it's okay. I just wanted to change the set of seats. It's just right. Hypocritical. Wang Dehai glanced at the old boy, and then looked at Sumo kindly. Young man Sumo, what is the name of your S-level special power? Devil Shock. It's a very domineering name. Wang Dehai Fushu chuckled and said, everyone, you have seen the superpowers and you all understand them. Let's make some conditions. The 5 of them were actually extremely excited at the moment. Not to mention S-level special powers, it is also a powerful attack power with absolutely terrifying destructive power. Facing such students, it would be a shame not to get excited. But according to the old rules, no matter how excited they are when doing special moves, they must suppress their emotions. Because this will help them lower prices. After the 5 people secretly exchanged the codes, Wei Fang from Zhongzhou University was the first to speak. I'll go first, Sumo. As long as you are willing to come to our Zhongzhou University, you will receive a scholarship of 5 million yuan and a high-level intermediate martial arts class. As soon as he said this, Huang Zongguang's pupils shrank suddenly, revealing a lustrous look of envy. It is indeed a top school. Not to mention the 5 million scholarship, it also has intermediate and high-grade martial arts skills. You must know that as a Golden Awakener, Huang Zongguang spent a lot of money and connections to possess an intermediate and low-level martial arts. And Sumo will have such resources once he enrolls in school, how enviable. Seeing that Sumo didn't speak, Zhao Feng chuckled and continued. Scholarship of 5 million, intermediate and high-grade martial arts, plus 4 years of free tuition and living necessities, including all conveniences. Sumo's eyes flashed slightly, but he still didn't speak. This scene made the 5 people nod secretly and look at Sumo with more and more satisfaction. I heard that this boy was born as a commoner and had perseverance, but I didn't expect that he could be so calm. Let's not talk about Wei Feng's conditions. Zhao Feng's conditions are probably difficult for ordinary geniuses to control, right? With terrifying talent and excellent character, this young man has a bright future. No one was in a hurry, and it was Zhou Yu's turn to speak. The conditions of our Dijing University are the same as those of teacher Zhao Feng, but as long as Sumo comes to our school, you can guarantee that you will receive powerful guidance at all times. Our schools there are quite a few special powers. HMPH, it's like other schools don't have special classes. Wang Dehai rolled his eyes at Zhou Yu, and then said with a smile on his face, young man Sumo, my conditions are actually the same as the 2 of them, but don't worry, we are absolutely indispensable for being able to guide us, and how can we fight? Lin University, this little girl is famous for her water spirit. Grass. In an instant, everyone stared at Wang Dehai. You're such a disrespectful old guy. I thought you were a serious person, but I didn't expect you to be an LSP. The beauty trap has been used, it's disgusting. Finally, it was the turn of the Magic City University. The beautiful lady Yan Yun first glared at the old and crooked Wang Dehai. Then he walked to Sumo's side, exhaled and chuckled. Sumo, sister, I am a straightforward person. The conditions they proposed for us at Shanghai University are not only doubled, but the most important thing is that during the 4 years, all students we will give you all the pharmaceutical resources and other resources you need to break through the realm unconditionally. How about it, sister, are you sincere enough? At the end of her words, she didn't forget to add, we have quite a lot of pretty little girls in the Magic City. Look at sister, are they pretty enough? An S-shaped curve appeared immediately, making Sumo blush slightly. See this scene. Wang Dehai and the other 4 stood up from their chairs and looked at Yan Yun angrily. Yes, well, you Yanyan girl, didn't you agree to take your time as agreed? Now, when they open their mouths, they are immediately bombarded with material and beauties. How can they play with it? Huchi. The 4 of them were so angry that their breathing became rapid and veins popped out on their foreheads. Yan Yun disagreed. covered his mouth and said with a smile, "Who told you that you have no sincerity at all? What's wrong with this girl being more sincere?" You. The four of them were furious, but after giving Yan Yun a vicious look, they quickly looked at Sumo, and then they said in unison, "Sumo, we all have what he has at Modu University." Huang Chongguang on the side didn't dare to say a word at this time, and looked at these crazy people obediently. "Good guy, you were so reserved at first, but now you are like a hungry wolf, tisk tisk." Seeing that the scene seemed a little uncontrollable, Sumo could only touch his nose and said, "Teachers, I already have a choice." Moment. The four people's eyes showed a trace of nervousness, including Yan Yun. Wang Dehai stroked his white beard to suppress his emotions, and asked as kindly as possible, "Young man Sumo, tell me, we can accept whoever you choose. Even if you say that, you will definitely not be willing to accept it, right?" Sumo coughed slightly and looked around at the five people. My choice is Modu University." After saying that, Sumo looked at Wang Dehai and the others apologetically. "Four teachers, I'm sorry. Although I chose Shanghai University, I still have to follow the proper etiquette. As a person, you must have a heart of reverence for all things, and you cannot be complacent just because 5 strong men are fighting for you. This is Sumo's way of being a human being, and it is also the most basic etiquette of being a human being." Alas, what a pity. Wang Dehai sighed helplessly. That's right, after being exposed to that Yan girl, even if their treatment has become equal, I'm afraid it won't be as precious as the first person's promise. Thinking about it, the old man glared at Yan Yun viciously again. Zhao Feng was also filled with regret. "Brother Su, congratulations on joining Shanghai Magic University. Although he is not from his own academy, once this kind of monster grows up, it will be the top power for humans to fight against monsters. As an educator himself, he is very tolerant." Zhou Yu was the calmest one. "Congratulations, Sumo. The teacher is looking forward to your performance in the freshman competition. I heard that Taikyo University had specially recruited an S-level student yesterday. No wonder he was the most open-minded person." Wei Fang herself was already heroic and bold. After getting angry, she looked at Yan Yun helplessly. "You girl made the profit this time, but you can't steal the next special move from us, HMPH. Quote. After putting down the harsh words, she turned to look at Sumo and said with a rare smile, "Congratulations, Sumo. The teacher's daughter is also your age, and she is also a genius girl who has awakened A-level powers. When the time comes, she will be a new student. The competition begins. How about the teacher introduce you to her? She is very beautiful." As soon as these words came out, Wang Dehai, Zhou Yu, and Zhao Feng trembled. "Yes, although you can't drag Sumo into their school, you can drag her into your own home. Isn't it better to be one's own family than to go to school? It's simply delicious. As for how to pull it, if you don't have a daughter, you will have a niece. If you don't have a niece or granddaughter, you will have one." When they thought of this, the three of them all showed mysterious smiles. Finally, the four of them said goodbye to Sumo and left together. Tianai City is just one of their special recruitment locations, but there are still many schools waiting for them in the entire human territory. There are some top high schools among them, and if you are lucky, you might be able to meet another S-Class 1. Of course, this is just a thought. At this time, only Sumo and 3 others were left in the principal's room. Yan Yun looked at Sumo with a smile. "Brother Sumo, congratulations on joining my sister's University of Magic. By the way, sister is very curious. Why did you choose Modu University when those 4 guys proposed equal conditions? Are you infatuated with my sister's Shui Ling?" Younger brother. Sumo's face darkened. "It was the iron-blooded education of Modu University that attracted me. Once I enrolled, I could receive missions to kill monsters." Yan Yun's last act really impressed him. But this is only part of the reason. The most important factor is the iron-blooded education of Shanghai University. Different from the other 4 universities, the other 4 universities have a rule that freshmen who have just entered the school must not go into dangerous situations to fight monsters in the first few months. They can only fight against monsters simulated by virtual computers, although they can also win battles. Experience, but for Sumo, this is obviously not in line with his style. After all, he wants to kill real monsters to obtain energy points. If he had to stay in the city for several months before starting, he would be worse off than dead. But Modu University was very suitable for him. Not only did he not object, he also felt that freshmen should enter dangerous situations and fight monsters. Only in this way can we become stronger and hone our minds faster, but this also leads to the highest mortality rate among students in Modu University. Of course, the comprehensive strength of students is also the first among the 5 universities. The welfare conditions are considerable and the educational environment is suitable. All things considered, Sumo has no reason not to choose Shanghai Modu University. Seeing Sumo's serious look, Yan Yun was a little disappointed and speechless. She thought her beauty trap was the key, but who knew that it was the school system that attracted this kid? She immediately joked. Looking at your pretty face, I didn't expect you to be a fighting maniac. Teacher, is it time to sign the contract? Brother Sumo, my sister suddenly discovered that you are a bit straight. Girls won't like you like this. Teacher, women will only affect the speed at which I draw my sword. Quote. Soon, after Sumo carefully read the contract for an hour, he took Yan Yun's gene register with satisfaction and entered the blood. This made the beautiful lady, who had been waiting quietly for an hour, twitch the corners of her mouth. This brat, the contract that should have been read in 10 minutes was actually read by this guy for an hour. Picking out one word after another, this is so stable. Of course, although he was complaining in his heart, Yan Yun quickly put away the contract with a face full of joy. That quick hand speed seemed to be afraid that Sumo would regret it. After she finished doing this, she looked at Sumo again with a smile. Brother Sumo, my sister welcomes you to join Modu University again. By the way, this is my sister's mobile phone number. If you don't understand anything, you can call at any time. Ask me, of course, you can also hit me when nothing happens. With a meaningful and prolonged ending, Yan Yun then left with a sweet smile on his face. After all, he was a specially recruited teacher. Her mission continues. Looking at the enchanting figure going away, Sumo pursed his lips and said, Fairy. Even though he is already 27 or 80 years old, he still wants to seduce himself, the flower of the motherland who has just grown up. What is it if it's not a goblin? Turning his head, Sumo looked at Huang Chongguang. Principal, what about the awakening certificate? The awakening certificate is an important item equivalent to the ID card of the previous life. After awakening the superpower, you must do it well, otherwise it will be very inconvenient. However, this is proof that it belongs to the awakened people. Ordinary people still rely on ID cards. Give. Huang Chongguang immediately took out a metallic card and handed it to Sumo. In fact, when Sumo awakened his S-level powers, he had already sent someone to do it. As for efficiency, it can't be said to be unpleasant. He is indeed a veteran with high emotional intelligence. Thank you, Principal. If anything happens in the future, please let me know. Patting Huang Chongguang's shoulder, Sumo put down the promise with a chuckle and walked out of the principal's office. On the spot, Huang Chongguang's face was flushed, and his body was trembling slightly with excitement. With Sumo's words, he felt that what he did today was worth it. After saying hello to Chen Durong, Sumo immediately returned to his simple rental house. There is still 1 month left before the special enrollment period for Shanghai University of Science and Technology. He didn't plan to go so quickly, he wanted to experience and improve his strength before going. Outside the major base barriers outside Tianai City is a good place for him to gain experience. As long as he has an awakening certificate, he can enter and exit freely. Taking out his mobile phone, Sumo logged into the Federal Skynet. This is a comprehensive trading platform designed by the federal government to sell and purchase supplies for awakened people. After logging into the number on the awakening certificate, Sumo started browsing. Well, first of all, you need an alloy weapon. Whitebeard uses Guando, so choose Guando. After selecting weapons for nearly 10 minutes, Sumo gritted his teeth and spent 400,000 to buy a low-grade and mid-grade alloy sword. The levels of items in this world are divided into low-level, intermediate, high-level, top-level, heaven-level. Each level has the quality distinction of low-grade, medium-grade and top-grade. Even most black iron awakeners cannot afford to buy low-level mid-range products. If it weren't for the scholarships and private goods given by Huang Chongguang, the total would be as much as 3 million. Sumo would never dare to be so extravagant. Next, he spent nearly 50,000 yuan to buy a military backpack with a large space in the field and a sweat-absorbent slim combat uniform. As for martial arts, Huang Chongguang had given Sumo his treasured martial arts skill, the intermediate and low-level, 9 continuous cuts with heavy sword. No need to buy it. Looking at the precious martial arts skills in the metal box, Sumo was filled with emotion. This old principal is so willing to give up. Intermediate martial arts, some golden awakeners may not be able to enjoy it, right? Soon, the courier of the Federal Skynet delivered these purchased items to Sumo. It didn't take half an hour. It was punctual and efficient. Sumo silently gave this little brother a good review. The second day, wearing a black combat uniform with rich texture, he slowly walked out of the rental house with a domineering alloy sword more than 2 meters long behind his back. Chapter 11. Walking on the road, Sumo attracted the attention of many people because of the domineering appearance of the alloy sword. After all, most awakened people usually wear knives and swords. A domineering guando like Sumo is indeed rare. Fortunately, Sumo also knew this. He had already purchased a black striped mask from Federal Skynet. There is a reason for doing this. He was so dazzling yesterday. All media in Tianai City are still praising Sumo understood that anything beautiful in the forest would be destroyed by the wind, so he left the city quietly this time without telling anyone. Not even Chen Durong told him. And now he has bought a mask, so no one will recognize him. However, the combination of the domineering alloy sword, the black patterned mask and the slender fighting figure makes his temperament even more prominent. With such a cold and arrogant temperament, it is impossible not to attract attention. Of course, it was just a few more glances, and then he looked away. Half an hour later, Sumo arrived at the base barrier outside the city in an armored bus. This is the garrison of the military region, guarding Tianai City. If you want to leave the city, you must have your identity verified by the officers and soldiers here. Following the flow of people, Sumo arrived at the checkpoint. The 2 officers and soldiers patrolling here immediately said seriously, "Please show your awakening certificate." Sumo quickly took out the awakening certificate. Students who have just awakened their powers. After checking the awakening certificate, the officer and soldier frowned and glanced at Sumo. "Young man, are you sure you want to leave the city?" Sumo nodded. Upon seeing this, the middle-aged officer and soldier of the Silver Realm began to secretly sense Sumo's aura, and then the corner of his mouth twitched. Black Iron Realm 1 star. The level and type of the superpower are not displayed on the awakening certificate, only in the deeper registration. So at this moment, Sumo's awakening certificate only shows the level of the awakened person and some general personal information. After once again confirming that Sumo was a rookie with 1 star of black iron, the officer and soldier reminded him patiently, "Young man, although the high-level monsters with a radius of more than 10,000 miles have been almost eliminated by our military, but thousands of miles away, it is still a restricted area, and golden awakeners must be careful, so you still." Seeing that this kind-hearted officer and soldier wanted to dissuade him, Sumo could only interrupt and said, "Official and soldier brother, I will pay attention. Be careful when you go out. If you can't, come back early. Remember, don't go too far." Seeing Sumo's appearance, the 2 officers and soldiers looked at each other and had no choice but to let him go. They would dissuade those young and frivolous students who had just awakened their powers and wanted to leave the city. But if you don't listen, there is nothing you can do. Soon, Sumo followed the flow of people and deviated from the main road outside the base, heading towards the deep forest. Because he was alone, many awakened people looked at him curiously. You know, it is very dangerous to be alone in the wild. Once you are attacked by a monster and there is no one to look after you, you will almost die. Therefore, some black iron awakeners basically go out of the city in groups to kill monsters. The materials obtained are also divided equally according to the credit. Although the profit is small, it is safe. Of course, there are some confident people who like to act alone, but those are all awakened people at the silver level or above. They all heard the conversation between Sumo and the officers and soldiers just now. Not only is this kid not a strong man, he is also a fresh graduate who has just awakened his powers. Such a little rookie who dares to go out into the wild alone is simply looking for death. Most of the awakened people shook their heads and looked back at Sumo. But there are also well-meaning people who invite Sumo to join their Black Iron team. Looking at the middle-aged uncle in front of him who invited him, Sumo's handsome face under the mask showed a hint of helplessness. He shook his head and chuckled. Thanks for the invitation, but I'm used to being alone, sorry. After saying that, Sumo chose a dense thorn forest and squeezed in. Oh. You are so young and frivolous. Let's hunt down monsters around here. If we meet this young man, we can help him. In the dense forest of thorns, Sumo's sight, smell and color were released all the time. For him who has the ability to see and hear, no monster within 100 meters can sneak up on him. Unless it is a monster hundreds of times stronger than him, but here, it is obviously impossible. Suddenly, Sumo sensed a violent aura moving lurking in the grass 10 meters behind him. Haha, it's my first time fighting a monster, so I'm really nervous. Joking, he slowly took off the 30-kilogram alloy guandao, and saw a cold light flashing across the edge of the knife. Not caring, Sumo just walked around casually, even deliberately showing flaws. Call out. Just a minute later, the lurking black shadow quickly jumped out of the grass and rushed towards Sumo. Waiting for you. Turning his head, what caught Sumo's eyes was a black panther with blood-red eyes and a body as big as a yak. At this moment, it had jumped into the air about 2 meters away from Sumo, its bloody mouth opened wide, and the smell was extremely fishy. Armed color, hardened, buzz. Holding the handle of guando with both hands, as the weapon color was displayed, the metallic blade turned directly into jet black. After unlocking 10% of Whitebeard's sword, Sumo used the guando without any pressure at all. Swing it wide open and close, extremely domineering. Of course, the level of sophistication is still not as good as 100% Whitebeard, but it is enough to deal with the early stage first-order monster leopard in front of you. Enough. Die. With a low shout, when he turned around, the guando in Sumo's hand followed his figure and swept towards the demon leopard. Tear it. The blade directly tore through the air, bringing up a strong wind and slashing towards the leopard in midair. Phew. Just hearing the sound of the knife entering flesh, the entire head and body of the monster leopard were cut in half on the spot. Ding. The host kills the first-order initial ghost leopard and gets 10 points of energy. Looking at the 2 sections of the leopard body that fell to the ground, Sumo's face was full of excitement. I can really get energy points, ha ha ha, it's so cool. With my current strength, I can kill first-level monsters at will, and even second-level monsters. But a battle is great, let's stay here for half a month and earn enough energy points first. In this world, monsters are also divided into levels. They are divided into levels 1 to 6 from weak to strong. Each level has 3 small stages. Early stage, middle stage, and late stage. The ghost leopard in the early stage of first stage in front of you is actually enough to crush the dark iron 3-star awakener of mankind. But now, it was killed by Sumo with a knife. This is enough to show that Sumo's armed appearance and knowledge alone are enough to walk sideways in this area. Next, there's nothing to worry about, just harvest. After briefly dealing with the ghost leopard, the corners of Sumo's mouth gradually rose. Holding the alloy sword in hand, he began to search for traces of monsters unscrupulously. Soon, through his sensory perception, he discovered a group of monster wolves gathered together. Upon closer inspection, there were actually hundreds of them. Licking the corner of his mouth, Sumo's eyes turned red. There are more than 100 of them, not to mention thousands of energy points, right? He murmured, his body covered with armed color, and then he walked directly towards the wolf's den without a care in the world. At this time, in a mountain stream, hundreds of demon wolves with dark hair were quietly drinking water. In the center of the pack of demon wolves, on a towering rock, a black and white demon wolf that was 3 or 4 times larger than an ordinary demon wolf was standing on it like a king. Beside it, there were human corpses, flesh and blood. It has been eaten until only the bones are left, which is very scary. Woo! Suddenly, the black and white demon wolf, who was obviously the wolf king, raised his head and looked towards a dense forest. My sense of smell is pretty good. In the grass, Sumo slowly walked out and his eyes met the big pupils of the black and white demon wolf. Ouch! Seeing that it was a human, a high-pitched wolf howl immediately came from the mouth of the Wolf King. Suddenly, hundreds of demon wolves all looked at Sumo. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Accompanied by the excited wolf howls, the pair of bloodthirsty pupils immediately revealed a greedy look. This is the look in the eyes when you see food. Soon, the group of demon wolves surrounded Sumo at the Wolf King's signal, and they all bared their teeth and drooled wildly. In this scene, an ordinary awakened person would definitely feel numb and trembling. Even those who are silver awakened will panic. You must know that in the wild, many awakened people would rather encounter high-level monsters than such social monsters. Especially the wolves, because once this group of cunning and difficult guys locks onto their prey, they will not stop until they die. If the awakened person is not strong enough, facing such a situation, he will definitely die and no one will be spared. But Sumo was no ordinary awakened person. Being surrounded in the center, his smile grew even stronger. Ouch! At this moment, the Wolf King on the rock gave an order, and the wolves who were ready to move finally moved. The two demon wolves grinned and rushed out first, their sharp front claws and fangs exposed, and they pounced viciously on Sumo. However, before they could get closer, a dark blade of light swept over them. Puff, puff, puff. Two huge wolf heads rose into the sky, and blood sprayed all over the ground. Ding! The host kills the first level early stage demon wolf and gets 10 points of energy. Ding! The host kills the mid-level first order demon wolf and gets 20 points of energy. Listening to the beautiful voice in his mind, Sumo raised the corner of his mouth slightly. Sure enough, the energy points in the middle of the first order will be doubled. Woohoo! The heads of the two demon wolves fell to the ground, and the surrounding wolves were obviously stunned. Their limited wisdom prevents them from understanding what is happening. Ouch! The high-pitched howl of the wolf was heard again, and the Wolf King on the rock clearly showed a trace of anger in his sharp pupils. The wolves heard the angry cry of their Wolf King and immediately reacted from their daze. This time, they swarmed up directly, 10 or dozens of them, pounced on Sumo as if they didn't care about their lives. Well done. Armed color covered his whole body, and Sumo's eyes gradually became crazy. Swish, swish, swish. The alloy sword whirred as he danced it, opening and closing the sword widely. Split, chop, tease, sweep, pick. Every basic sword technique is used exquisitely. Puff, 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 puff. A flash of dense sword light can take away the lives of several demon wolves. Even if it was accidentally bitten at close range, the demon wolf seemed to bite on black iron, and the wolf's fangs broke apart directly. Ha ha ha, so happy. While fighting crazily and listening to the beautiful voices in his mind, Sumo couldn't help but laugh wildly. Next moment, buzz. At the pitch-black blade of the alloy sword, a white halo emerged, and he slashed down with the sword. Click. There was a strange sound of shattering glass, and thin cracks spread from the edge of the knife, like space being shattered. Bang, 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 bang. The dozen or so covered demon wolves in the air were distorted and shaken into large blood clots on the spot. Ding! The host kills the mid-level first-order demon wolf and gets 20 points of energy. Ding! The host kills the first-level early-stage demon wolf and gets 10 points of energy. Ding! The host kills the late first-order demon wolf and gets 40 points of energy. Ding! The host killed the mid-level first-order demon wolf and obtained. Ding! Congratulations to the host for combining the armed color with the power of the earthquake for the first time. Special rewards are issued. The unlocking progress of the power of the earthquake is 5%, the unlocking progress of the primary armed color is 30%, and the all-round power is starting to be fed back. Suddenly, among a series of system prompts, Sumo was slightly startled by the last message. But then, before he could figure anything out, several waves of extremely vast power surged into his body. The use of the power of earthquake. The use of primary armed colors. Physical fitness, psionics, these 4 aspects are all improving crazily. Originally, 5% of the earthquake power was unlocked, but it directly reached 10%. The destructive power and range have been horribly improved. The primary armed color has also been unlocked by 30%, reaching the level of 40%. As long as another 60% is unlocked, you can be promoted to the intermediate armed color. And his physical strength also received corresponding nourishment as the fruit's ability was unlocked, doubling his physical strength. What Sumo didn't expect the most was that his spiritual power was also improving crazily. Black Iron 2 stars. Black Iron Samsung. Black Iron 4 stars. Black Iron 5 stars. It wasn't until the Black Iron 6th star that he stopped. Shock. Sumo didn't expect that he would trigger a special reward just because he wanted to try some ability coordination. The most unexpected thing is that once the character template is unlocked, it will give back so much power. Psionics. Physical fitness. The destructive power and use of abilities. It can be called an all-round improvement. Host. The strongest template system itself is to constantly unlock character templates and then transfer their power to you. The system once again explained in a timely manner, and the higher the progress of unlocking the character template, the stronger the power of feedback will be. Hiss. While dividing his mind to fight and listening to the system's explanation, Sumo couldn't help but take a breath of cold air. This is so bad. If this is the case, then as he extracts more character templates, wouldn't the power gained after unlocking be doubled? All-round nourishment, perfect enhancement. Invincible. Simply invincible. Ha ha ha. Thinking about it, Sumo laughed even more crazily. Looking at the group of wolf cubs in front of him, all he could think about was energy points. Buzz. Another slash with armed color and shocking power came out. Click. With the overall improvement, physical strength, spiritual energy, weapon color, and shocking power are combined. The destructive power of this knife has once again been raised to a new level. Originally it could only spread to an area of 5 meters in diameter, but now it directly spread to 10 meters in diameter. The area covered in front is close to 50 meters. Not to mention its destructive power. Bang 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 bang. Any demon wolf that was covered in it was directly shaken to pieces. This time, there was not even a blood clot. The ground was plowed into a ravine more than 40 meters long and 1 meter deep. With one blow, nearly 50 demon wolves were killed instantly. On the rock, Sumo's attack caused the Wolf King to explode. Even though it has a low IQ, it can still smell the smell of death, so it is frightened. But in the arrogant nature of the Wolf Clan, it will not back down, and would rather fight to the death, just because it is the Wolf King. One of the kings in this area. Ouch! Howling angrily, the nearly 4-meter-long black and white Wolf King suddenly jumped up high. Then with the help of the power of diving, he attacked and killed Sumo. The strength of this Wolf King is infinitely close to that of a second-level monster, so the strength of its limbs is at this moment. I am afraid that some low-star Silver Awakeners may not be able to accept it. Can't you bear it anymore? After killing another wave of demon wolves, Sumo looked up at the Wolf King descending from the sky and sneered, "I'm just using you to test the sword." As he spoke, he made a charging start with his hands holding the alloy sword, and then kicked off with his feet. Boom! As the ground cracked slightly under his feet, he jumped up and struck hard at the Wolf King with the sword in his hand. 9 consecutive slashes with the heavy sword. For this low-level intermediate martial arts given by Huang Chongguang, he relied on 10% of Whitebeard's sword skills, understanding and super comprehension talent. I have already practiced to the beginning last night. You must know that intermediate and low-level martial arts are the martial arts practiced by Golden Awakeners. Even for Golden Awakeners, it is difficult to practice. However, Sumo mastered it in just one night. If Huang Chongguang, who had practiced for decades before becoming successful, knew this, it will definitely scare your life. This is no longer a genius, but a monster. The entry-level heavy sword can cut 2 sword shadows in succession with 9 consecutive cuts. The heavy power of the first sword will be strengthened by the second sword. Therefore, each subsequent slash of the 9 consecutive slashes with the heavy sword can explode with terrifying power that far exceeds the previous one. Moreover, the guando used by Sumo is very heavy, and now it is a perfect match when combined with this sword technique that focuses on the power of a heavy sword. It's better than using a normal alloy sword. I'm afraid the original owner who created this martial art would have difficulty imagining that guando's use of this martial art would be even more effective than Tang Dao's, right? In midair, the black and white Wolf King saw that Sumo dared to jump up, and the violence in his pupils became even more intense. It roared and tilted its body again to increase its dive power. At the same time, the claws on its forelimbs continued to extend, like 8 sharp knives, trying to tear Sumo into pieces together with the alloy sword. Seeing the action of the Wolf King above him, Sumo curled his lips. The power is very powerful, but it is not an egg. If you can't break his armor, you will have to wait for death. Soon, the distance between the man and the wolf was less than 1 meter, and the armed-colored guando was in direct contact with the wolf's claws. Clang. First there was a metallic clang, and then there was a click, and the wolf's claws were cut off. I saw that the blade was as powerful as a bamboo. After cutting off the wolf's claws, it cut again on the black and white Wolf King's forelimbs. PFF'd. Along with the wailing sound, the Wolf King's forelimbs were severed. In pain, his entire body completely lost its balance and fell downwards. However, the closing speed of the knife in Sumo's hand was faster than the falling speed of the Wolf King, after twisting his body. The second consecutive slash of the heavy sword carried the heavy power of the first sword and swept out, hitting the neck of the Wolf King who was about to fall. PFF'd. There was another sound of the knife entering flesh, and this time, it directly killed the black and white Wolf King. The huge wolf head fell down together with the wolf body, and a majestic rain of blood began to fall in the air. Boom! When the huge body of the Wolf King fell to the ground, the remaining demon wolves did not dare to move. Their Wolf King is dead, their pride is gone, and some of the wolf cubs even let out low howls, wanting to retreat. Ding! The host kills the late First Order Peak Demon Wolf King and obtains 80 energy points plus a special reward for a low-level high-grade body movement dragon step. The voice of the system came, and it actually rewarded a low-level and high-grade movement technique, which surprised Sumo. Is the system the reason for killing the Wolf King? Well, you can get extra rewards by killing monsters with boss attributes. Hearing this, the corner of Sumo's mouth curled up slightly, another unexpected discovery, so cool. Without looking at the rewarded skills, Sumo turned his head and glanced at the remaining wolves, and then slaughtered them mercilessly. Half an hour later, Sumo found a cave and sat quietly, then opened the system interface with anticipation. Host. Sumo. Cultivation. 6 stars of Black Iron Realm. Superpower. Shocking Power S+, 3-color Domineering S. Martial Arts. 9 consecutive slashes with a heavy sword, lower intermediate level, entry level. Energy point. 2891. Character template. Edward Newgate. Character details and unlocking levels can be found in the template list by clicking on it. Character template. Edward Newgate. Shocking Power, unlock level 10%. Overlord Color Domineering, unlock level 5%. Armed Color Domineering, elementary level, unlock level 30%. Seeing and Hearing Domineering, elementary level, unlock level 10.2%. Taijutsu, unlock level 10.2%. Sword Skills, unlock level 10.3%. Looking at the panel quietly, Sumo was filled with emotion. What a big change. Not to mention the spiritual realm, the power of shock, and the color changes of weapons. Unexpectedly, the Haki and Teishu sword skills also improved. Although it was not big, it only increased by less than 1%. But it also proves that as long as you keep practicing and practicing, you can also unlock character progress. However, the most exciting thing this time is of course the energy points. After killing the wolves, he directly obtained nearly 3,000 energy points, and he didn't know to what extent he could unlock them. Thinking happily in his heart, Sumo immediately asked the system to adjust the unlocking ratio. Shocking Power, 10,000 energy points required to unlock 1%. Overlord Color Domineering, 8,000 energy points required to unlock 1%. Primary Armed Color Haki, 1,000 energy points required to unlock 1%. Primary Level of Knowledge and Domineering, 1,000 energy points required to unlock 1%. Taijutsu, 2,000 energy points required to unlock 1%. Sword Skills, 2,000 energy points required to unlock 1%. Sumo was silent. What is this exchange ratio? Was he dazzled? If you look carefully, there are still so many zeros. Grass. I thought I was already well off and could spend a lot of money, but I didn't expect that I was still poor. It takes 10,000 points to unlock 1% of the shock power. What the hell? Convert it into something, you can't even unlock 0.5%. What's more, the system seems to only be able to redeem 1%, and cannot be redeemed below 1%. In other words, he, Mr. Su, can only redeem 4 abilities: weapon color, knowledge color, physical skills, and sword skills. And it's still a pitiful 1%. Well, Sumo, am really poor. Looking at the redemption panel in pain, Sumo could only choose between 4 lower abilities. For now, after special rewards, the weapon color is enough. Then there are only swordsmanship, physical skills, and knowledge and color left. Which one should I choose? Sumo held his chin and began to weigh it. There are 3 types, any one of which can increase his combat effectiveness. It's a bit difficult to choose. A minute later, Sumo no longer hesitated and pointed to the system interface. After repeated considerations, Sumo still chose the sword technique. After all, apart from his supernatural powers, what he relies on most is his sword skills. Moreover, the martial arts skills he is practicing now also belong to the swordsmanship category. Improving his swordsmanship is definitely the most cost-effective option. Although the experience and color are not bad, it is enough for the time being. It would be okay if there was also a set of boxing techniques for physical skills, but because there wasn't, Sumo chose sword skills. Consume 2000 energy points to redeem 1% of the sword skill unlocking progress. The unlocking progress of sword skills immediately changed from 10.3% to 11.3%. And in the next moment, an exquisite understanding of sword skills was instilled in Sumo's mind. Even the physical fitness and spiritual realm have been improved due to unlocking 1% of the sword skills. Although it's small, it's definitely an improvement. It can only be said that it is indeed a system. No matter which ability is unlocked by the character template, physical fitness and psychic realm will definitely be improved together. Awesome. After getting familiar with the newly improved power, Sumo immediately took out the low-level high-grade movement technique that was rewarded for killing the Wolf King. Yulongbu. Because it is produced by the system, it can be said that this dragon walk is much more sophisticated than the ordinary mid-level and low-level movements. The most important thing is that Sumo can master all the martial arts produced by the system in an instant. No more time spent practicing. Another welfare function, cool. Host, do you want to practice dragon walk? Yes. Soon, the introductory understanding of this body technique turned into a torrent and rushed into Sumo's mind. 10 minutes later, after the initiation was completed, Sumo's figure suddenly ejected and started walking around in the cave. Gradually, his figure walked faster and faster, turning into running. Half an hour later, Sumo was completely familiar with the entry-level Yulongbu. When he took another step forward, he already had the graceful charm of a dragon flying in the clouds, but of course, it was just a trace. If you practice to perfection, you may really be able to control the charm of dragon soaring. Satisfied, Sumo stopped and sat cross-legged again, then took out some compressed food from his military backpack. It was getting dark now, and he was a little tired, so he took a good rest. It won't be too late to go out hunting again when you have enough energy tomorrow morning. The next day, Sumo pushed away the rubble blocking the entrance of the cave. The sunlight shone on his handsome face, adding a touch of warmth. A new day has begun. Let's set a small goal first. Earn 10,000 of his energy points. After making up his mind, Sumo held the alloy sword and rushed out with the dragon step. An hour and a half later. What the hell? A whole hour and a half. He actually didn't encounter a single monster. Not one within 100 meters of what he saw. Something's wrong. This is very wrong. Frowning, Sumo thought for a while and began to go deeper into the dense forest opposite to the base city. Although it is possible to encounter second-level monsters, it is better than not encountering any monster at all. Half an hour later, Sumo stopped on a big tree with a puzzled look on his face. It's not that I encountered a monster, but that I encountered a person. Of course, if he meets someone, he would normally ignore them. But the current situation seemed a bit strange, and Sumo was a little curious. In his vision, he saw nearly 100 awakened people gathered in one place. It seemed like they were in a stalemate, and they didn't start fighting. They just stayed in a stalemate. The strangest thing is that Sumo didn't see them leave even after being perused in the big tree for a full hour. Could it be? Suddenly, Sumo's eyes lit up, and he thought of a possibility. Awakened people are outside, and there will generally be no conflicts if there is no conflict. After all, life is at stake. But once a conflict occurs, it is either because of enemies meeting or because of interests. In his perception, the auras of the people on both sides did not look like enemies, because there was only vigilance but no aura of hatred. Then there is only one possibility, a stalemate because of interests. There's a baby. Sumo's eyes flashed with excitement, and then he sneaked closer. At this time, around a hill, nearly 100 awakened people were divided into 8 small teams and were in a stalemate. Below them, the hill seemed to have collapsed, forming a crater. Looking down from the pit, one can actually see a piece of white jade-like stone crystal. Psychic mineral vein. Hiding on a tree more than 10 meters away from the crowd, Sumo looked at the pothole, his eyes burning. No wonder. It turns out that these guys have discovered a new vein of psychic energy. Psychic mineral veins are a kind of rare mineral veins formed underground by chance by the psychic energy wandering around the world. The spiritual stones needed for awakened people to practice are now collected from here. In his previous life, it would have been a golden mountain that made the world jealous. And in this world, psychic mineral veins are thousands, 10,000 times more precious than mountains of gold. Beside the hill, a tall middle-aged man stood up from the largest team of awakeners. There were 2 scars engraved on his face, and he looked very fierce. After scanning the rest of the awakened team, he looked around. He said in a cold tone, "Everyone, no matter who discovered this place first, the most important thing now is not to inform the military. Once the news leaks out, not only the military, but even those large groups will be affected. We will come here after hearing the news, but by then, we may not even be able to drink the soup. You should all understand this, right?" After saying this, many people smiled and nodded. However, there was only one awakener team whose face was ugly and could not smile. Moreover, Sumo knew this team. It turned out to be the team led by the middle-aged uncle who kindly invited him to join the team before entering the dense forest. Standing on the top of the big tree, Sumo looked at the reactions of everyone present and probably guessed the reason. The other 7 teams all had smiles on their faces, but the uncle's team had ugly faces. What does this mean? It is enough to show that the uncle's team is probably the first to discover this place. But in the end, these guys got the news and came to share the pie. There is even a possibility of being squeezed out and having the cake proportions wrong, leading to a bad mood. And next, just as Sumo thought, this mineral vein was indeed discovered by the uncle's team. Then he was bumped into by another team, and as soon as the news spread, the current situation formed. In the middle-aged uncle's team, an ordinary-looking woman gritted her teeth and said unwillingly, "Wang Meng, don't go too far. We discovered this vein first, why do you have 70%? Do you believe it or not? I will inform you now. People from the military." The person who notified the military. Wang Meng was the scar-faced middle-aged man. He looked at the woman with a mocking look on his face. "Now try and see if you can inform me." The woman's expression changed and she quickly turned on her phone, only to find that there was no signal at all. "Silly woman, I already knew that we would encounter this situation and arranged it in advance, ha ha ha." As he finished speaking, several teams immediately surrounded the middle-aged uncle's team, and his meaning became obvious. Looking at the team of middle-aged uncles who were surrounded and unable to escape, Wang Meng grinned and said, "In our world of awakened people, the law of the jungle is always eaten by the strong. How come the weak want to share equally? It's ridiculous. Now here, only the strong, only the strong. Only with me, Wang Meng, can I enjoy everything." At this time, Sumo walked over slowly. "You were right, in this world, only the strong can enjoy everything. You were right. In this world, only the strong can enjoy everything." Slowly walking out of the grass, Sumo's deep eyes exposed outside the black mask looked at the middle-aged scar with a smile. Everyone was shocked and quickly turned to look at Sumo. There's still someone there. They just sent people to lure away all the nearby monsters. No extra awakened people were found nearby during the journey. How did this guy find this place? Luck. For a moment, everyone except the middle-aged uncle's team stared at Sumo unkindly. At the middle-aged uncle's team, a team member looked at Sumo in surprise. "Captain, it's that young man." Yang Zhang nodded. He did not expect that he would meet this young student again. Kurigane Issei was extremely lucky to be able to stay alone in the wild for a whole day. etc. But soon, his expression changed. Wouldn't it be dangerous for this little brother to get involved in this situation now? Thinking that Yang Zong's good-natured character was out of character again, he shouted anxiously to Sumo, "Little brother, leave quickly, don't come here." Sumo nodded towards Yang Zong as a greeting, but continued walking towards the hill. Joke. There was not even a single awakened person of the Silver Realm present. To put it bluntly, everyone present was rubbish. The nice thing is, no one is his enemy. According to the scarred man's philosophy, he should be considered the strongest. So as the strongest person, shouldn't he enjoy the psychic mineral veins below? Walk. Non-existent. Behind the middle-aged scar, several awakened people obviously recognized Sumo. A few days ago, when they just left the city, they happened to see this kid at the scene. The costume is very cool, but he looks like he is just a rookie who has just awakened his powers. How dare such a little novice come to interfere with adults' affairs now? As expected, you are young and frivolous, and don't know whether to live or die. Listening to the mutterings of several team members, the middle-aged scar was secretly relieved. Grass. He dressed up in such a coquettish way and dared to be alone in the wild. He thought he was some kind of awesome person. Who knew he was actually a little rookie? Yes, I was shocked. Squinting his eyes, the middle-aged scar looked at Sumo with a sinister smile. "Boy, you are very brave." "I've always been so bold." Sumo shrugged, then looked at the pothole below and said with a smile, "Is it possible for you to see it?" The words fell. Puff. Wahahahahaha. The middle-aged scar smiled, and all the team members behind him who learned about Sumo's background also laughed. "Ha ha ha. Captain, this one-star black iron rookie wants to drink soup. This kid may not be brave, but has a brain problem, ha ha ha. Talent, this is definitely a talent. Ha ha ha." Sumo also laughed. Next moment, buzz. Overlord-colored domineering energy surged out. The invisible wave spread quickly. Even if it was only 100 meters away, it directly covered everyone present. Bang 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 bang. All the awakened people at the scene who were less than the 8 stars of black iron fainted one after another. After a while, only the middle-aged scar and Yang Zhang and a few other awakened ones of the black iron 9 stars were still barely awake. But he was already lying on the ground, unable to move. Sumo slowly approached the middle-aged scar and looked down at him. "Come on, show me another smile." Woo 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 woo. The middle-aged scar looked at Sumo in fear. Under the pressure of his overbearing color, he could only moan. Snapped. A big slap hit the scarred man's face, making his cheeks instantly red and swollen. Withdrawing his right hand, Sumo grinned slightly. "Smile, didn't you laugh beautifully just now?" Snapped. "You should really give me a smile." Snapped. "Smile quickly." Bang 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 bang. A few minutes later, the fierce middle-aged scar's cheek was swollen into a pig's head. His eyes were full of begging for mercy. This made the captains who did not faint, including Yang Zhang, dare not make a sound. Afraid of attracting Sumo's attention. "What you said before is right. The strong can indeed do whatever they want." Looking at the scarred man who was no longer human, Sumo sighed, "But it's a pity that you are just a weakling." After saying that, he kicked out his right foot. Click. Accompanied by the sound of bones breaking, the scarred man's chest instantly sunk, and he flew backwards. After falling to the ground, he struggled to glare at Sumo, but his eyes rolled, his head tilted, and he could no longer die. Ding. The host killed a 9-star awakener of the Black Iron Realm and obtained 50 points of energy. After listening to the prompt, Sumo asked doubtfully, "Does killing the awakened person also reward energy points?" Humans are also living beings and can naturally obtain energy points. That's right, they are all living beings, and it is normal to obtain energy points. Sumo nodded. Then, he looked at the group of awakened people who had fainted on the ground, and a flash of blood flashed across his eyes. The first time he killed someone, he didn't feel any discomfort. This world itself is dominated by the weak and the strong, and it is normal for people to fight for profit in the wild. Moreover, the secret of this psychic mineral vein must not be spread out. Thinking quietly, Sumo held the alloy sword, suppressed his emotions, and began to harvest ruthlessly. The captains who were still awake were frightened to death when they saw this. But they couldn't move and could only look at Sumo with pleading eyes. But what greeted them was a ruthless sword light. After a while, except for Yang Zong's team, all the other Awakener teams who had laughed at Sumo, they all became the souls killed by his sword. After removing his domineering aura, Sumo looked at Yang Zhong, who was already able to move. Captain Yang, let's give this psychic mineral vein a 50-50 score. After all, you discovered it first. Yang Zhong looked confused. His heart is still beating wildly. Who would have thought that Sumo, who was regarded as a rookie by everyone, could actually be such a ferocious god of murder? It's so scary. I actually wanted to protect this murderous god yesterday. Now that I think about it, it's so ridiculous that the clown is actually himself. Patting Yang Zhong on the shoulder, Sumo smiled and said, I said, let's share this psychic mineral vein equally. Yang Zongwei said, this is not good. If it weren't for you, little brother, this mine would have been taken away by Wang Meng and the others. It was Captain Yang who discovered this vein. Then let's do this. Little brother, just give us 10%. If we can get 10%, we will be satisfied. Looking at Yang Zhong, Sumo was speechless, and then said in a strong tone, 64, I'll 6 you 4, okay, it's settled. Also, wake up your team members to deal with these corpses to prevent the smell of blood from attracting monsters. With that said, Sumo jumped directly into the pit below, leaving a confused Yang Zhong behind. This little brother is a ruthless person and his character is extremely tough. Sighing secretly, he began to wake up his team members. Captain, what is this? Wang Meng and the others. Are all dead. Team, Captain, what happened? When the team members woke up and found corpses all over the place, they all froze on the spot, their eyes widening. Then he looked at Yang Zhong with some confusion. Yang Zhong took a deep breath and said solemnly, don't ask, it won't do you any good if you know. With that said, he began to take the lead in disposing of the corpses at the scene. Under the pothole, Sumo finally landed at the bottom after buffering for about 10 meters. Just as he landed, what caught Sumo's eyes were pieces of white jade-like crystals. It's the psychic stone that hasn't been polished yet. Looking carefully, these white jade crystals have spread all the way into a cave in front. Mom, you should be able to be well off this time, right? Staring at the white crystals with burning eyes, Sumo couldn't wait to see them. Can the system sense what level of psychic mineral vein this is? When they were in school, the teacher gave them a brief introduction to psychic mineral veins. Psychic mineral veins are generally identified based on the purity of the psionic crystals. Divided into low-level psychic mineral veins, intermediate psychic mineral veins, high-level psychic mineral veins, top-level psychic mineral veins. There are actually higher-level psychic mineral veins in the future, but they are not recorded in the textbooks. It only said that the mineral veins above the top psychic mineral veins are extremely rare, and those who do not have great opportunities and great luck will not be blessed to enjoy them. Host, according to the detected results, this is a low-level psychic mineral vein. Hearing this, Sumo felt a little regretful at first, but then he became excited. Just be low level, I'll be satisfied. After all, in this world, most of the mineral veins discovered are still low grade. If you want to meet intermediate or even advanced people, it is impossible to meet them without a certain amount of luck. And low-level ones are already considered rare. Some are not even low-level, they can only be said to be semi-low-level, and the psychic crystals among them are extremely rare. The one he discovered now is obviously a normal low-level one, and it even has an extra cave, which is pretty good. Low-level psychic mineral veins can produce 3 qualities of psychic stones: low grade, medium grade, and high grade. As for this quality issue, it also depends on luck. Without hesitation, Sumo immediately started the system to absorb the psychic crystals. He didn't want to waste time on polishing it, so the best way to absorb it all and turn it into energy points was to do it right away. Ding! The host absorbed a low-level mid-grade psychic stone and gained 298 energy points. Ding! The host absorbed a low-grade psychic stone and gained 90 points of energy. Ding! The host absorbed a low-level high-grade psychic stone and gained 560 energy points. Ding! The host has absorbed a low-level mid-grade. Looking at the rising energy points, Sumo grinned from the corners of his mouth to his ears. At the same time, he also knew the approximate proportion of low-level psychic stones. A low-level low-grade psychic stone can generally obtain about 100 energy points. Low-level mid-grade psychic stones cost around 300. Low-level top-grade ones are the most common, and they are also the most difficult to get, usually around 600. About 10 minutes passed. As Sumo continued to touch the psychic crystals, each psychic stone was quickly absorbed. After the energy was sucked away, the psychic crystal turned into powder on the spot. Almost 5,000. Another half hour passed and Sumo obtained 5,000 energy points. As long as you absorb another 5,000 points, you can redeem 1% of the unlocking progress of the shock power. But this is only the beginning. Absorb. Keep absorbing. Gradually, Sumo has absorbed all the spiritual energy crystals on the outer wall. Get more than 30,000 energy points. He began to move towards the edge of the cave. Another hour later, Sumo finally absorbed 60% of his psychic stones. The energy point directly reaches a terrifying height. A full 110,000. Now, it should really be enough to splurge. Satisfied, Sumo walked out of the cave and climbed up the rock again. When they reached the top, Yongzhong was standing guard by the hill like this. Sumo was stunned. Captain Yang, why don't you go down? Yongzhong looked at Sumo and replied with a smile. We were afraid of being discovered, so we went out to patrol again. Nodding, Sumo pointed at the hole. There is a low-level psychic mineral vein down here. I have collected 60% of the psychic stones, and there is still 40% left. You go down, then Captain Yang, I will go first, farewell. With that said, Sumo stepped on his body and left quickly. Watching Sumo go away, Yongzhong sighed. This little brother is destined to be from a different world than us. He could foresee that this young man would definitely become a big shot in the bright future. The ability to freeze people as if they were in a realm, coupled with a calm and decisive personality, would never be mediocre. At this time, a team member finally couldn't help but asked, Captain, is this the one who killed Wang Meng and the others? Don't ask what you shouldn't ask. Let's go. This little brother actually gave us 40% of the psychic mineral veins. If it had been anyone else, I'm afraid they wouldn't have given us even 10% of it. This time I met this little brother. Brothers, we are lucky. As he said that, Yongzhong looked at the pothole with excitement. This was the first time for his team to collect psychic mineral veins with their own hands. In the past, I could only drink soup, or even soup. I could only stand outside and watch others collecting it with envy. This is actually the norm in this world where the jungle prevails, but this time they were lucky enough to meet Sumo. Finally I can eat meat. On the other side, Sumo stepped on his body and returned to the cave before. After blocking the hole, he waved his hand and summoned the system. Now that I carry a large item with me, I always feel airy and comfortable, and every move I make feels as comfortable as the wind. 110,000, how to arrange it? Looking at the energy points, Sumo began to call up template characters. Character template. Edward Newgate. Shocking power, unlock level 10%. Overlord color domineering, unlock level 5.2%. Armed color domineering, elementary level, unlock level 40%. Seeing and hearing domineering, elementary level, unlock level 10.2%. Taijutsu, unlock level 10.2%. Sword skills, unlock level 11.3%. First purchase 9% of the sword skill unlocking progress, then 5% of the shaking power unlocking progress, followed by 10% of the primary color of knowledge, 3% of the domineering color of the overlord. Let's calculate how much it is first. Grass. 102,000. What a fool. After paying the energy points painfully, Sumo quietly waited for the feedback from his power. Soon, the progress of major unlocks will change. Shocking power, unlock level 15%. Overlord color domineering, unlock level 8.2%. Armed color domineering, elementary level, unlock level 40%. Seeing and hearing domineering, elementary level, unlock level 20.2%. Taijutsu, unlock level 10.2%. Sword skills, unlock level 20.3%. Boom. Several waves of vast power immediately poured into his body. And the amount of feedback this time is definitely greater than the one during the special reward. understanding of sword skills, the destructive power and area of earthquake power, the color of sight, the color of overlord. Everything is improving. The realm of spiritual energy and physical fitness also do not fall behind. The flesh body began to make crackling sounds, and as it continued to be refined, the skin became more and more crystal clear and firm. The spiritual realm is soaring even more. Black iron 6 stars. Black iron 7 stars. Black iron 8 stars. Black iron 9 stars. When he reached the limit of the black iron realm, his strength was still half as much. Boom! With an invisible explosion, the shackles within the body were instantly broken. Silver realm. Less than 3 days after awakening his superpower, Sumo was directly promoted from the black iron star to the silver realm. If you tell me this, no one will believe it. For thousands of years, the legendary record of the fastest promotion to the silver realm has been engraved in books, and it took half a month. And Sumo is now far beyond a legend. In the cave, Sumo sat cross-legged and continued to receive the infusion of power. It wasn't until an hour later that he fully absorbed the power. After breaking through to the silver realm in psychic realm, he once again rose to 3 stars in a row. The strength of the physical body has become extremely abnormal. If the Golden Awakener were to compare with the strength of the physical body alone, he would definitely not be able to defeat him. The already slender figure has become more perfect again. In short, with this promotion, Sumo's overall strength has definitely increased to a terrifying level. Is this the power of the Silver Awakener? Sitting on the ground, Sumo suddenly stretched out a finger, and a stream of gray gas immediately gathered at the fingertip. Compared with the weak spiritual energy of the Black Iron Awakener, the total amount of spiritual energy of the Silver Awakener has reached a level that can extend to the body surface. Although it cannot condense a spiritual protective shield like the Gold Awakener, can also be partially wrapped. In this way, there will be more attack methods in combat. If I break through to the silver realm like this, will it be too conspicuous when I report it? After sensing some power, Sumo began to fall into deep thought. After all, he has just awakened. If he acts too exaggeratedly, he will not be a monster, but a weird one. It will definitely attract the attention of interested people, and may even cause some unnecessary trouble later. System, since you can help me hide my S-level abilities, what about my spiritual cultivation? The system replied in a cold voice. Yes, everything can be hidden according to the host's wishes. Call. Sumo breathed a sigh of relief. If that's the case, then it's okay. Next, he quietly became familiar with his power. This sudden improvement is indeed too much. If you don't get familiar with it and cooperate with it, you will definitely feel uncomfortable. Time passed quietly. As dusk approached, Sumo finally digested the sudden feeling of comprehensive improvement. Immediately afterwards, he practiced getting up and sword skills in the cave. He has already mastered the 3rd sword of 9 consecutive slashes with a heavy sword. When he has mastered the 4th sword, he will be able to achieve a small level of success. Reaching Huang Chongguang's current state. In terms of body skills, there has also been good progress. Although it is still far from a small achievement, as long as you insist on practicing every day. I believe it won't take much time to achieve success. That's pretty much it for now, and we'll continue tomorrow. After eating something to fill his stomach, Sumo closed his eyes and rested contentedly. Cultivation is important, but it also requires a balance between work and rest. Before, he did everything he could because he couldn't see hope. But now that the future is bright, there is no need to overdeplete it. Now we should focus on the foundation and leave no hidden dangers, so that we can reach the peak on the road to becoming stronger in the future. The next day, Sumo woke up early, washed up, and then started a new day of killing without stopping. This huge consumption made him understand that no amount of energy points was enough, the only way was to keep earning. And with his current strength, he should be able to kill 2nd-level monsters. And I heard that 2nd-level monsters seem to be able to control bloodline abilities similar to human powers. The strength gradually suppressed the human awakeners of the same level. However, that's not what Sumo cares about. What he cares about is how many times the energy points will increase. This is the main point. In anticipation, he began to search frantically for the 2nd-level monster. No, after continuing deep into the dense forest for an hour, Sumo finally encountered a snake-like monster with flames all over its body. Like the human fire element awakener, this fire python should be a second-level fire attribute monster. Hiss. Breathing out the snake letter, the fire python stared directly at Sumo with a pair of cold snake eyes. Boom. Suddenly, without any warning, it opened its bloody mouth, and saw a 3-meter thick flame pillar shooting straight towards Sumo. The flames were raging and boiling, many times stronger than Lu Chen's sea-level fire ability before. All the trees in front that were affected were instantly reduced to debris. Good guy, the second-level monster is different. After giving birth to the power of blood, it can actually attack from a distance. Taking out the alloy sword, Sumo smacked his lips, but it was not empty at all. Under the cover of the armed color, it turned into an afterimage and rushed out. Aha! A cold light flashed past, and the blade roared with energy, splitting the flame pillar into two on the spot. Immediately. Die. After cutting off the flames, Sumo used all his strength to perform the dragon walk. With a strong and elegant figure, he stepped on the treetops and approached the fire python. A blade flashed from top to bottom and struck the fire python's big head in an instant. PFF'd. The fire python was frightened and wanted to dodge, but it still took a step slower. The knife edge entered its body and the snake's head was cut in half on the spot. Ding. The host killed the second-level initial flame python and obtained 130 energy points. Sumo shook off the blood on the knife and was very satisfied. The energy points of monsters at the early stage of the second level are indeed much greater. At the same time, he also had a general understanding of his own strength. Well, the Golden Awakener and below are enough to crush. As long as he doesn't seek death and enters the restricted area thousands of miles away, this is sus paradise. However, a few hours later, Sumo was dumbfounded. He didn't encounter any more second-level monsters, and even first-level monsters were encountered sporadically. And this situation remained the same in the following days. Half a month later. Grass. Sumo's face turned dark as he stood on a hill and cursed. Too bad. In half a month, he didn't even earn 10,000 energy points. Is this possessed by a non-chief? Forget it, go back. Sighing, Sumo shook his head helplessly. It seemed that he had run out of luck when he encountered the psychic mineral vein. And after all, this is just a small area in Tianai City. The remaining second-level monsters seemed to know that he was such a murderer, and they began to get angry and run away when they saw him. First-level monsters earn very little, and due to various factors, it is indeed difficult to stay there any longer. Calculating the time, it seems that there are only a few days until the start of the special enrollment period. In that case, go back. Anyway, the harvest this time is generally pretty good and I am satisfied. An hour later, Sumo successfully returned to the barrier checkpoint outside Tianai City. The two officers and soldiers who were patrolling at this time were still the same. Sudden. The middle-aged officer and soldier who had persuaded Sumo before seemed to be aware of it and looked at Sumo's slowly walking figure. He was stunned for a moment, then his eyes widened. It's that kid, he's still alive. The other officer and soldier naturally recognized Sumo, and his eyes widened in disbelief. How did this kid with a black iron 1-star cultivation survive in the wild for half a month? They hadn't seen Sumo return for so long, and they thought the latter had turned into monster excrement. Could it be that he was just lucky and didn't encounter any monsters? Thinking secretly, the two began to look at Sumo. Immediately, his pupils shrank sharply. The blood-stained slim-fitting combat uniform, carrying the domineering Guan Dao behind him, exuded an extremely strong evil spirit. The eyes outside the mask are so sharp that people can't look directly at them. What happened? Is this that kid? The two officers and soldiers were veterans who had been on the battlefield and fought desperately for many years, so they were quite good at reading people. Half a month ago, although Sumo was sharp, he was still a little immature. But at this moment, this evil spirit, this look, this powerful step, this kind of temperament that none of them possess actually appears in a young man who has just awakened his powers. The most terrible thing is that with just one glance, they were so frightened by the young man's fierce aura that they did not dare to look directly at him. Oh my God, what has this kid experienced in half a month? It was inevitable that the two of them were so shocked. You know, Sumo has been killing monsters for the past half month. Even if he didn't mean it, he would naturally condense it. Moreover, he also killed hundreds of awakened people. This murderous intention blended into the evil spirit was even more terrifying. Coupled with Sumo's horizontal push all the way, the king's aura was tempered for the domineering color. With all these combinations, it's not surprising that he can have such momentum. Although the two officers and soldiers had killed monsters and humans, if we were to count them carefully, they were probably not as many monsters as Sumo had killed in the past half-month. Shocked in their hearts, the two officers and soldiers froze in place. It wasn't until Sumo came closer that they both came back to their senses. The middle-aged officer and soldier swallowed his saliva and asked, "Little brother, have you killed many monsters?" Sumo shook his head. "Kill a little. This guy really doesn't like to pick up any of the pots." If there really were so many monsters for him to kill, he wouldn't come out with regrets. At least make him a small goal, 10,000 energy points. Of course, if others knew that Sumo had already killed thousands of souls in less than half a month, they would definitely point at him and yell at him. A little. After hearing Sumo's words, the middle-aged officers and soldiers glanced at the bulging backpack behind Sumo, which was more than 2 meters tall, and their eyes twitched. "Good guy, when did you get such evil energy? Can a backpack with expansion space be so big? Do you think your soldier brother has never been a soldier?" Secretly complaining, the middle-aged officer and soldier smiled tentatively. "To be honest, are you hiding your strength?" Hearing this, Sumo directly activated the spiritual energy in his body that was suppressed by the system into the 6 stars of black iron. This was a decision he had thought about beforehand. Just use the strength of the black iron 6 stars to sign up. It took more than 20 days from awakening the power to signing up. He possesses S-level powers and has an inspiring image in the past. Although black iron 6 star is still a monster, it is not impossible. No wonder. The aura of the black iron 6 star made the two officers and soldiers suddenly realize. If you are a black iron 6 star, be careful and you can indeed survive in the wild for half a month. But then, the two of them were stunned again and frowned. It's not right. Even black iron 6 stars shouldn't be able to possess such a strong evil spirit, right? His strength simply does not allow him to kill like this. For a moment, the two officers and soldiers were at a loss. How could this kid in front of them be so contradictory and mysterious? "You're so weird, it's the first time I've seen you like this. Come on, get your awakening certificate." Finally, after the middle-aged officers and soldiers checked Sumo's awakening certificate, they let him enter Tianai City. It wasn't until Sumo entered the armored bus and walked away that the officer and soldier on the other side murmured, "Sumo, I seem to have heard this guy's name somewhere." Sumo. Sumo. Isn't this the message that Lao Yi showed us a few days ago? The name of our S-level student in Tianai City this year seems to be Sumo. The middle-aged officers and soldiers looked stunned. What a coincidence, this guy has the same name as that S-level evil student. Probably. With that said, the officer and soldier picked up the instrument that had previously registered Sumo's awakening certificate and looked at it. When he saw that handsome face, his eyes widened. In a hurry, he walked in front of a computer instrument next to the platform and entered the words, "S-level student of Tianai City." When the identical face unfolded on the computer screen, he was frozen in place. Seeing this, the middle-aged officers and soldiers came over to take a look, and then they also froze on the spot. Quote. The two of them looked at each other and saw confusion and astonishment in each other's eyes. That kid just now is Sumo, the S-class monster student who has been rumored for the past half-month. Then, half a month ago, this evil student wore a mask and really went out into the wild with the strength of a black iron star. When he came back, not only did his temperament change drastically, but he was also promoted from black iron 1 star to black iron 6 star. Quote. Exclamation mark. Quote. The two of them seemed to have been struck by lightning, their heads went blank and they became motionless. An hour later, Sumo returned to his rental house under the curious gaze of many people. When I opened the door, there was not a trace of dust inside for half a month, and there was a piece of paper on the dining table. With your kid's personality, you must be eager to go out and kill monsters. Be careful. Putting down the note, Sumo couldn't help but smile. This guy da wrong. You probably didn't find any trace of yourself, and then you were a little worried, so you ran over and left a note, right? Go and talk to him later. Smiling and shaking his head, Sumo immediately dialed the acquisition number of Federal Skynet. He came back with a big bag of monster materials. If you sell it, it will definitely be a fortune. After a while, a young lady wearing a professional suit came to the rental house with several after-sales personnel from Federal Skynet. Is it really you, Master Sumo? As soon as he entered the door, the young lady in a suit saw Sumo and exclaimed with gleaming eyes. When she just received the news about the sale of monster materials, she saw that the person on the other side was not anonymous but was marked with Sumo's customer name. She was surprised at first, and then excited. Then with random thoughts, she led the people to the address immediately, coming. Unexpectedly, this client named Sumo is really the evil high school student with S-level powers. Lucky you. The young lady looked at Sumo with a look of infatuation. Sumo's mouth twitched, thinking of the scene where he heard most people discussing him on the way back. No way. In just half a month, his name as Sumo has become a household name. I want to be low-key. Sighing helplessly, Sumo pointed to the large backpack placed aside. I plan to sell these materials, let's take a look. Leave it to me, Lord Sumo. The young lady quickly prepared diligently. Master Sumo. Sumo's face darkened. He felt that this title was strange. Soon, the materials were sorted out. The materials that could only be sold for 3 million were originally raised to 4 million by the young lady. Just because she is the daughter of a supervisor of the Federal Skynet and has power. Also, she said that she was a fan of Mr. Sumo and had endless discounts. Well, it seems famous and a bit fragrant. Someone thought shamelessly. Finally, before leaving, the young lady knelt down and begged Sumo for an autograph. The location is, well, in an indescribable location. What a slut. She even wanted Sumo's contact information. Of course Sumo wouldn't give it to him, so he wanted to get him with benefits. Maybe there was a glimmer of possibility when he was still the poor boy he was before. But now, it's impossible. You were indifferent to me before, but now I want you to be so high up that you can't reach it. Unless true love, After the 4 million was received, Sumo took one last longing look at the rented house where he had lived for several years, then put on a mask and stepped out of the house. He planned to say goodbye to Chenderong first, and then go directly to the Magic City to report. That's where Sumo's future stage will be. In front of the high-speed rail station from Tianai City to Shanghai. Amo, you wait for me in Magic City first. When all universities have formal admissions assessments, I will go to Magic City University to try my luck. Even if I can't get into Magic City University, I will study in other key universities in Magic City. When the time comes, let's continue wandering around the Magic City. There was a huge crowd. Chenderong put his arm around Sumo's shoulder, and stared at the eyes outside the good brother's mask and said reluctantly. I believe in you, don't worry, you will definitely enter Shanghai University. Sumo was a little reluctant and patted his best friend on the shoulder. Brother, I'm leaving. With that said, he walked into the psychic high-speed rail carrying an alloy sword and a backpack. Between men, there is no need for too many joys and sorrows, just put their arms around each other again the next time they meet. What's more, the normal admission day for all universities, including the 5 top universities, is the 2nd month. It's only been a month, it's gone so quickly, there's nothing to be reluctant to leave. On the 2nd day, the Modu high-speed railway station was crowded with people, and the flow of people far exceeded that of the Tianai City high-speed railway station. Ordinary mortals are busy running around in life, and there are countless awakened people, and all of them have powerful auras and high levels of attainment. Such a scene cannot be compared to Tianai City, not even a little bit worse. It is indeed one of the top big cities in mankind. The atmosphere and prosperity are far beyond what other cities can match. Looking up at the tall buildings with a sense of technology around him and the suspended psychic vehicles flying in the sky, Sumo was filled with emotion. Since the development of mankind, although it has become an extraordinary era, technology has not lagged far behind. There are psychic stones and epic-making technological products that were unimaginable in previous lives. This world has them, and they are even more advanced. Especially in the current Magic City, high-tech products can be seen everywhere. A virtual TV reflected in the void, showing the highlight moments of powerful awakened people fighting. But the most important thing is all kinds of federal news, the most headline news among them. It is an introduction to the 5 top universities, and the gossips of the famous graduates about the students who are about to enter the school. In short, as soon as he stepped into the Magic City, Sumo felt his blood boiling. Facing such an unknown and prosperous big city, he began to look forward to it. Sir, you need to show your awakening certificate when leaving the station. At the exit of the high-speed train station, many pretty girls were checking the documents of people leaving the station. There are hundreds of exits in total, but even so, they are still extremely crowded and people are queuing up. Of course, for the awakened, there is no need to be so troublesome. Awakened people can enjoy privileges, enter special passages, and be transported out of the hall by open-air elevators. Mortals can only wait there slowly, which is a very realistic reflection of class. Sumo saw this scene, shook his head, and walked towards the special passage. Over the past 18 years, he has long been accustomed to this kind of class treatment. He dare not show off his arrogance in front of the awakened people, and he gives priority to the awakened people in everything. Although the other party did nothing wrong, in this world where monsters are rampant and awakened people defend their homes and countries, ordinary mortals will still subconsciously give in to the awakened ones. But Sumo discovered that many awakened people are now used to being surrounded, and they all have aloof character. To put it simply, the taste has deteriorated a bit. Unlike our ancestors who united to resist monsters thousands of years ago, today's human civilization is different. Although they are united on the surface, they are fragmented secretly. Sumo also knew that this was an unsolvable problem, no matter where it was or what the world was. Whenever there are differences between strengths and weaknesses, advantages and disadvantages, there will be such problems. Without thinking any more, Sumo handed the awakening certificate to the waiter and was greeted with a professional smile. He officially entered this prosperous and mysterious big city. When he came outside, Sumo took off his black striped mask. Once in the Demon City, he no longer had to cover up anything. He is not so narcissistic yet and feels that everyone in the city knows him. It's not like there are no S-class superpowers in the Magic City, and the famous ones are those who have already developed their talents into ready-made abilities. Dee Dee. Dad, the call is coming. Dad, the call is coming. At this time, Sumo's phone rang. Taking out the latest model of mobile phone I just bought, a familiar but unfamiliar phone number was displayed. Sumo clicked to connect. Teacher Yanyan. Call sister. Hearing this lazy female voice with a hint of ridicule, Sumo's face darkened. Teacher, you asked me to call you when I get to Magic City. I'm already at the lobby of Magic Capital High-Speed Railway Station. Haha, I'm told to call you sister. Let's get down to business. Yanyan's more serious voice immediately came from the other end of the phone. I've asked someone to wait for you over there. You continue to walk out of the hall and go to the reception area. Someone will receive you. Remember, don't blush and don't swallow your saliva. Withstand. Quote? Sumo had a black line on his forehead. What the hell is this woman up to? I understood what I said before, but are these next few sentences human? Sumo immediately wanted to hang up the phone. If nothing happens, I'll go to the waiting hall. Etc. Teacher, are you so free? It's not just to get you. My sister has been unable to compete with those 4 old guys for the past half-month. No, now I can only rush to the next school in despair and get bored to death in the car. On the other end of the phone, Yanyan could be heard swearing through gritted teeth. Sumo pouted. Then what? Do you have anything else to say? Sister, as your specially recruited teacher, she will definitely teach you in the future, so naturally she has to supervise your practice on time. How about it? Have you encountered any difficulties in practice in the past half-month? Sumo. No. Have you been promoted to Black Iron 2-star? Sumo thought for a while, but he had to register for school anyway, so he simply said, I've got 6 stars in Black Iron. I knew it would be easy to have an S-level talent, Black Iron 2 stars. Wait, what did you just say? On the other end of the phone, Yanyan reacted, her beautiful eyes suddenly widened, and she rubbed her ears. A pair of pretty red lips pointed directly in front of the phone and asked, "How many stars do you think you have?" Sumo repeated flatly, "Black iron 6 stars. Boom." The sound of the phone falling to the ground came from Sumo's phone, and there was no sound for a long time. After a while, just when he was about to hang up, Yan Yun's trembling voice came over, "Brother, it's wrong to lie to my sister. My sister's heart can't bear it now, you know. I, Mr. Su, never lie. Teacher, if there's nothing else, I'll just hang up." Yan Yun said anxiously, "Wait a minute. Have you really been promoted to the 6th star of the Black Iron Realm?" "It's absolutely true, teacher, you care about me so much, how could I lie to you?" With that said, Sumo hung up the phone, not giving Yan Yun a chance to talk. "Sorry, teacher, I just love to lie to you. I'll try again next time." Muttering without any guilt in his heart, Sumo immediately walked to the reception hall. There were many people in the reception hall. As soon as Sumo came in, his excellent temperament instantly attracted the attention of many people. In particular, the alloy sword he carried on his back was taller than others, which surprised many people. "I didn't expect anyone to use such a weapon. You know, the Guando is very heavy, and the awakened ones who have strengthened the physical system are not willing to use such a heavy weapon." The boy in front of him did have perfect proportions, but he didn't look tall and powerful. But with such a heavy weapon, can he make it move? Ignoring these curious glances, Sumo stood quietly beside the wall of the reception hall. Yan Yun actually asked someone to pick him up, which meant that the person receiving him should know his appearance. "Just wait here, it's Shangguan Feiyan." At this moment, an exclamation sounded outside the reception hall. Immediately afterwards, the crowd all looked over, and then there was an uproar. Why did she come to the high-speed rail station? She's so beautiful in real life. Much more beautiful than on TV. Is she Shangguan Feiyan? Is she a fairy from TV? How can a person be so beautiful? The proud daughter of heaven from the Demon City University, I, a person from the Black Iron Realm, have the honor to meet a real person. I will die with no regrets. The hell if the fairy looks at me, I'd rather die right now. What the hell are you thinking about? She won't even look at you twice in your lifetime. Get out of the way. Get out of the way. I want to see the goddess closer. As the excited exclamations of the blockbuster continued to sound, a passage was forcibly squeezed out by the crowd. Sumo looked at it curiously and was stunned for a moment, but he quickly recovered. Under the gaze of everyone, a tall woman walked slowly, with a graceful and elegant posture. She was wearing a long black dress, with a perfect figure, and her facial features under the black silk bangs were very delicate, like a fairy walking out of a painting, especially those narrow but bright eyes, which made people fall in love with her at just one glance. "I'm stuck in it and can't extricate myself. What a wonderful woman." Sumo secretly sighed. It can be said that this is the most perfect woman he has ever seen. Yan Yun was inferior to him. If he were to give her a score, she would definitely get a score of 99.9. The only 0.1 was that this woman's expression was too cold, making people afraid to approach her. Soon, Sumo withdrew his gaze. Beauty was none of his business. By the way, why haven't the people Yan Yun called come yet? He has been waiting for nearly half an hour. Helpless, Sumo could only call back again. "Teacher, why hasn't the person you called arrived yet?" On the other end of the phone, Yan Yun was still shocked by what happened in Sumo's realm when he heard Sumo's voice. She was immediately furious. "Brother, you dared to hang up on my sister just now. You were looking for death." "I was wrong." Sumo apologized perfunctorily, and then continued to ask, "Teacher, how about I take a taxi to school by myself?" I'll ask you about your cultivation later." Yan Yun snorted coldly and then said doubtfully, "The person has arrived. He just called me." Hearing this, Sumo nodded. "Okay, then I'll wait. I've given her your phone number. If she can't find you, she'll call you later." As he spoke, Yan Yun suddenly changed his tone and smiled meaningfully. "By the way, brother, have you ever been in love?" "Here we go again, this sand sculpture teacher." Sumo said honestly and without expression. "No, why do you ask? Is it weird that you have never been in love?" He had never talked about it in his previous life, and he was not living well. "Well, then you have to resist. After saying that, Yan Yun hung up the phone in a teasing tone. Inexplicably, my sand sculpture teacher turns out to be really good at sand sculpture. While complaining, Sumo suddenly felt urgent to urinate. After glancing at the location of the bathroom, he trotted over. After washing his hands and coming out, Sumo stood at his original position again and began to wait quietly. Due to the arrival of the fairy in black dress, everyone at the scene turned their attention to her. There was no shouting at all. Sumo glanced at them and shook his head secretly. They are all a bunch of LSPs. Are you here to pick someone up? Did you know that the people leaving the station are waiting for you to take you home? Etc. People who don't know how to receive him are also so fascinated that they can't stand. Have they forgotten to look for him? Probably. Thinking of this, Sumo was speechless. Dee Dee. Dad, the call is coming. Dad, the call is coming. At this time, his phone rang. He took out his cell phone and saw that it was not a call from Yan Yun, but an unfamiliar number. Brother, you finally remembered me. Sumo burst into tears and immediately clicked on the call. Hello. An ethereal and beautiful female voice came. Junior Sumo. Not a boy, but a girl. The sound is quite nice. Sumo, it's me. Where are you, Junior? I'm going to find you. This sound, it does sound a bit nice. Sumo sighed secretly, and then replied, I'm right here on the wall at the entrance to the reception hall, carrying a guando on my back. It should be easy to spot. Where are you? Or I can go look for you. Anyway, I have to go out on the way. The ethereal female voice said, I saw you right under the platform of the fence. I'll go pick you up. Under the fence platform, Sumo looked quickly, and in an instant, he met those narrow and bright eyes. No way. The corners of Sumo's mouth twitched. Do you want it to be so exciting? He swallowed. Is it you? Quote. Sumo fell silent. At this moment, he finally knew what Yan Yun's words meant. You actually let such a monster come to pick him up personally. Teacher, I really belong to you. At this time, everyone around them was secretly confused from the moment the woman in black skirt took out her mobile phone. Did this goddess come to pick someone up at the high-speed rail station? For a moment, everyone's eyes widened and exploded. Who? He actually asked Shangguan Feiyan, the proud daughter of the Demon City University, to come and pick her up in person. Most importantly, is this lucky guy a woman or a man? The women are fine, but the men are about to burst. I saw that as the fairy in black skirt slowly walked towards the inner door of the reception, the eyes of these guys followed her closely. They didn't dare to speak out loud, but they wanted to see who was so impressive. Seeing this situation, Sumo felt bad and quickly said on the phone, Senior, wait, you don't have to come over. Let's go out by ourselves first and wait until we meet outside. What the hell, you fairy and fairy, if I let you come in front of me, that's fine. Can't tens of thousands of pairs of eyes stab me to death? Fear, a true disaster of beauty. How can this be done? Teacher Yan has told me that I have to personally pick you up from the reception hall. There was already a hint of stubbornness and toughness that could not be rejected in the ethereal voice. Oh my god, this fairy and fairy is still a master with a strong personality, but it's over now. Thinking of this, Sumo began to curse Yan Yun in his heart. He was going to be tricked by her this time. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.